know that the wrong mattress protector can ruin the feel of your mattress?
Oh my god, dude. I think...
Open door in 5.
Oh.
4.
Oh.
Now. Oh, fuck, let me in.
Uh-oh. Uh-oh.
Bastard. Fucking scum, you horde scum.
Oh,
let me
there it
in.
is.
Let me in. Fuck.
There it is, dude.
Oh, fuck.
And he can't get in the door now.
I'm in.
He's gonna make it. Oh, yeah,
So, you're probably wondering how I ended up in this situation.
Yep.
Well, last time, our hero fought bravely to overcome harsh perils and tough times, completing Black Fathom Deeps in Ashenvale and flying off into the distance.
Beautiful.
who, through a series of events I'll explain later, ended up unequipping all his armor to sit down and enjoy a regular day in World of Warcraft. And then, the Fire Nation attacked.
Okay. Okay, dude. Okay, dude.
I'll have you know I've gone through much peril to bring you this video. The Deathmold saga has finally come to a close as they've yet again declared my apartment legally fit for human life. I'll admit it was my fault. I should have refrained from chopping that milk in half with an axe years ago. But there's no use in
why would you
crying
do
over
that?
spilled milk. What's important is focus.
What the fuck?
When and the where. I traveled from
Who
Ashenvale
the
to
fuck does
Duskwood,
that?
exploring a new land in search of quests. You see, I had to get to
my
level
God.
30 to execute Order 66, or as it's referred to by the WoW community, absolutely ruining our game. But I digress. In my time there, I killed foul ghouls and scary skeletons. I met a man who, through a very advanced form of schizophrenia, was actually 5 people, 4 of which were buffing his conscious self. I got enriched by the local culture and killed a mage in his own bed. Completely honorless, but also something he'd never expect. Found a mob spawned inside of a wall. Fucking unplayable 15-year-old trash game. Became acquainted with what the locals refer to as the situation, and I made an enemy who I harbor great negative emotions towards. I saw a bunch of people posting in the chat about this one rogue who was just terrorizing this relatively low leveling area. When he finally got to me, I couldn't believe it.
He's level 35!
Bastard. The same fucking...
Like, how low is your self-esteem that you have to go and gank people at level 35? I mean, that's so, like... Honestly, like, you know what it is? The dude can never find an SM group. He can't quest for shit. So he just decides, you know what, man? This is my life now. I'm never gonna hit 60 anyway. I'm just gonna go out there and gank people. That's what happens. Typical Horde player. Yeah. Can't find an SM group. That's what's gonna happen instead.
Guy from way back then. Getting ganked by a rogue in WoW is truly falling victim to one of the classic blunders. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, and I'll advertise the creation of a mob to hunt you down. All Horde players are just people that had awful parenting, and it was time to cleanse Darkwood of this evil. We used a formation that's in American football referred to as the Dirty Gremlin. We split up in 3 directions from where the rogue was last seen, and all act as bait. When the child in need of a proper father figure can't retain his misplaced emotions any longer, he strikes just as I expected. I rejoiced and truly tasted
he got his ass
sweet
beat,
victory.
man.
Sindolf should have known never to start a land war in the Eastern Kingdoms, but only slightly
losing the Grey Level Alliance.
Never going against the Night Elf when death is on the line. He killed me and logged off. And then I did something despicable. After reaching level 30 through various means which I'm not legally obliged to disclose, I went scouting for a guild, not because I lacked companionship, but rather because I was gonna take them for all they had.
That's
you see,
smart.
at level 30 you get access to your warrior quests, which if completed give you access to Berserker Stance and the Whirlwind Axe respectively. Now
That's a big
through
one.
traditional means,
That's
one
a
could
big
possibly begin to take on these tasks at level
That's a
30.
big ol' boy.
That is where the guild comes into play. You see, warriors suck so fucking much at leveling that they almost sort of default into being the best scaling class in the game. It's quite unimpressive when you think about it. Here's my math. Due to the lackluster experience, warriors are in high demand, and guilds are oftentimes very invested in helping their warriors progress to a point where they can raid. Here's where the aforementioned ruse comes into play. I joined a guild and convinced this poor soul to help me through the entirety of my warrior quest chain, which requires a couple steps. First, we have a stern talking with our warrior class trainer, who tells us we need to travel to a faraway island. With haste, I return to Duskwood and enter possibly the biggest world PvP clusterfuck in the game, which both thematically and geographically is almost entirely like Vietnam. One of the actual inspirations behind this rumble in the jungle. Our goal is to make it to Booty Bay at the southern tip, where we'll not just pick up a flight path, but also take a boat to Merchant's Coast in the Barrens. I was terrified of all the Horde players, and I focused so much on avoiding them that I died to the mobs. With a few minor incidents along the way, I managed to claw my way through the jungle and get to Booty Bay.
Probably took
that actually
an hour.
rhymes. That's actually bars. With the few minor incidents along the way, I managed to claw my way through the jungle and get to Booty Bay. Fuck. On the real though, compared to how much my friends and everybody in this game was hyping this area up to just be a death zone, the Horde players were actually surprisingly nice, just letting a low-level player pass through.
They don't give a fuck.
I'll be sure to remember
they don't care.
And I'll be kind to these Horde players once I reach level 60 and return to this jungle with 100 men armed to the teeth. But I digress.
I can relate.
Now, if I'd jumped off the boat well ahead of time, I would have been right next to the island. Instead, I went mountain climbing for 15 minutes before realizing I went the wrong way. To then find out that there's a fatigue system in the game. You can absolutely exert all your energy and drown. In World of Warcraft, you learn something new every day. I finally make it to the island and speak to Clannoch MacLeod, a reference to the musician, who wants me to kill Big Will, who's actually also a reference to the musician Big Will. After doing this man's dirty work, we learn Berserker Stance and begin the hard part of the quest. We journey all the way to Hillsbrad Foothills, tied to Helcular, up through the Alterac Mountains and speak to Bathra the Windwatcher, who gives us the WoW class quest equivalent to 40 shots of tequila. At once. We gotta bring him 8 life root, 30 blood scalp tusks, and an essence of the exile. The life root is pretty cheap, but we'll be bankrupting our economy for the essence. You see, to make it you need 8 cresting, burning, and thundering charms. Something I could spend a week grinding or just buy on the auction house. After getting scammed by various Chinese auction house bots, I headed to Stranglethorn Vale to meet up with the man who was spending hours of his life helping out a new guild member.
For no reason.
Blood scalp tusks
I never knew Greek was such a nice guy. This is crazy.
And by that, I mean agonizingly slow.
This is awesome.
Unreasonably inconsistent, and altogether an irreconcilable experience void of any gratification. We have to kill trolls until I have 30 tusks. It's not unusual to kill 10 without getting a single drop. There is one area where a lot of trolls spawn, but we got killed there 5 times in a row and decided it wasn't fucking meant to be. Which left us with the option of farming this much shittier part. It felt like the good area, but sugar-free. Like the discount experience for the losers who couldn't hack it.
Great value trolls.
Tusk farming. And I wasn't having fun. In the jungle, there's no mercy. You kill people to steal their mob. You kill people to layer them. In fact, you kill people just because you fucking can. It's not like you got anything better to do whilst waiting several minutes for a troll to spawn. I started farming these tusks at 1:30 AM, and it took a solid 2 hours before I had 30. By this point, my man had actively been assisting me for nearly 4 hours.
Oh my
We then journeyed back to the Alterac Mountains to complete the final part of the quest.
Holy
After
shit.
Bothrog hooks up a potent concoction, we perform the summoning ritual. After which, Cyclonian kills us immediately. It wasn't even close. We definitely needed assistance.
I was about to say.
I looked through my friends list, and the only person online was Larry6, the
great.
infamous gnome of
He can
doom.
use his weapon.
I swallowed my pride and asked for his help. He obliged, and with the help of a couple people from my guild, we finally managed to take down Cyclonian.
Feels like an
turned in
MMO.
the quest and was finally the proud owner of the Whirlwind Axe, a weapon so goddamn good for my level that it should be illegal to wear at level 30. After receiving the axe, I told my guild it's been a pleasure doing business with them, and immediately left the guild.
Hold on. Darkness just texted
God
me.
damn, dude! We're still
Larry and I agreed to meet up some other time to settle our differences. And it was at this very moment that I started rising to glory. You see, I checked my mailbox. Abortion sent us a letter titled, Got Milk, containing 235 glasses of milk. He also included a second package with 5 pounds of flesh, troll sweat, mystery meat, and vision dust.
Absolutely
you know
incredible.
what to do with these.
Sounds like my viewers.
Send us 69 silver to compensate for what he did in Dead Mines. This letter was titled, Mental Disability. Here's 2 gold for the trouble, you poor rascal. Huckster says use these to beat mages and sends me 2 free action potions and 2 swiftness potions.
Damn.
These will come in very handy.
I bet they will.
Diarrhea says, wear a shirt, you filth. I humbly accepted my new garments. Mind if I put my sweet nectar in your moist cornbread? Please don't message me again. And Rurik makes a generous contribution to the crusade.
10 gold!
These 10 gold will be spent very
10
well.
gold,
I'm gonna invest them in
dude!
goblin rocket boots.
What
that
a
might
nice
blow up
guy.
and getting e-drunk with presumably
This is a
women.
great guy.
Speaking of presumably women, I got a promiscuous letter from Big Titty GF, who sent me some of her homemade cheese. I told her it was disgusting and sent it back.
Yeah,
and
it's
now
nasty.
it was time for a dungeon. Not the one from the intro, we'll get to that, but rather it was time to bludgeon our new axe on Gnome Ragan. The only dungeon in the game where almost every single enemy is a gnome, a dungeon I chose for no particular reason. Starting time 1 AM. Catchphrase, here we go again. If God is real, amen.
Wow.
Just kidding. This run was a disservice to human intelligence.
I thought that was a
and
quick
probably
20
the
minutes for a
biggest
second.
fiasco I've
Okay.
encountered during
All
my
right.
100+ hours
That's
in
good.
Azeroth. It's honestly impressive that this many things could go wrong at the same time. Check it out, right?
Actually,
I couldn't get the first key
you're
card
only
to drop,
starting.
probably because of a bug, but possibly due to unfathomable bad luck. So no quest XP for me. Later we survive an ambush, after which Blastmaster Shortfuse sets off an explosion and closes the entrance to the tunnel. Somehow, I managed to walk through the rubble just at the moment before the invisible wall gets put into place. And there I stood, completely soft-locked.
Wow.
I couldn't Hearthstone out or
Fucking
get my health to 0. Had it not been for the Warlock summoning portal, I would have had to start a new life as a cave dweller. Our whole group then goes on to miss the second punch card, and a warrior needs for a ring with spirit and stamina. This caused Tractor, our mage, to have a mental breakdown.
Fucking
As
retail
I'm focused
kid.
on the chat, I managed to aggro a group of mobs.
Classic
My
WoW
comrades
community.
stand still and watch me die. I call Tractor a Redditor. He leaves the party, and I managed to get exactly 11 out of 12 essential artifacts before having to
Imagine
give up.
being a
Considering
Redditor.
literally everything went wrong, I thought it couldn't possibly get any worse. So I find a new group and start all over.
That's good.
That jump was perfect, by the way, and on purpose. Gnome Ragan, or Gnome Reagan, whatever.
Gnome Reagan
is a stale experience with a bit of charm to it. It's not utterly poorly designed like Stockades, but there's nothing extraordinary either. So let's—
There is, but it's too complicated to figure out. Like, Gnomeregan's a great dungeon, but you have to have a PhD to understand it. Like, you have to have not just a PhD, but a PhD in Gnomeregan. Like, if you don't have at least a master's degree in physics, don't even bother going into this instance. It's a waste of your time.
Skip past all the boring shit. 5 a.m. we wiped to these arcane nullifiers
Oh,
and
yeah.
got to
We did the same
re-experience
thing.
Blizzard's patented, gruesome, walk to your corpse gameplay.
yeah.
We make a calculated jump
High
that
quality
brings us
gameplay.
within an inch of losing our lives. I
Ooh.
get disconnected. After
great.
reconnecting to the Blizzard multiplayer experience, I use
Oh,
the
that must be
auto blow
Kel'Thuzad.
too, because might as well while I have the chance. It's not like
And
I'll
fairly
ever do
not.
this godforsaken fucking dungeon again. Then, after a long night of harsh grief and misfortune, it was time for the boss.
That's good.
You already know what I did. If you've seen the first 3 videos, you know the pattern, you know what's coming, you've seen this before. Going utterly
Yeah.
against the suggestions
What's he
of
doing?
my comrades, I
What's he
charge
doing?
in whilst our healer has 0
What?
mana, proceed to die without popping my health potion, and somehow I still have the
The fuck is
fucking
wrong
nerve
with you?
to ask for a goddamn revive whilst my whole group
His
gets
res up.
slaughtered. After we all wipe, I had to undergo the walk of shame. After
Oh,
spending
no.
an amount of time to get back to the boss room.
This is
I
really
finally
funny
managed to
whenever
beat
I'm not in the
American.
group.
It's at this point that I'm supposed to feel satisfaction.
Yeah.
But let me tell you, no matter how
Need
many
on-
completed quests I have
need.
in my log, no matter how close I am to hitting level 32,
Need on
there's
that.
absolutely no happy juices left in the brain when you're at the tail end of an infamous WoW session till the
8:48
sun
in the
rises.
morning.
Having had my fill of
Beautiful.
dungeon grinding, I decided to go on an adventure,
purpose or
seeing as I'm the
stupidity?
type of
Both,
person who
probably.
would rather spend 3 hours of my life than Google the next appropriate zone for my character. I started at Hillsbrad Foothills, went through Silverpine Forest, and
that
found a
RuneScape?
giant purple ball in Dalaran. I met this undead priest who danced with me and licked me, after which I'd earned his trust.
good.
I led him into a faraway cave
good.
and fucking killed him. I swam across Lordamere
Fuck
Lake
'em,
and
dude.
met this old couple living in a house. I found out the hard way that they don't take kindly to strangers.
No, they
when
don't.
I finally got away from them, an assassin unstealthed and killed me in cold blood. And then I did all that again, in wisp form, after
That's
which
great.
I entered Horde territory.
What
and since
could go wrong?
Tirisfal Glades apparently
What
wasn't
could go
scary
wrong?
enough,
Hey.
I decided to venture into Undercity.
Yeah, what's
I
in here?
quickly changed my mind. Now here is where my
Yeah, I'll bet.
exploration took an unexpected turn. I saw a Zeppelin for the first time,
Oh.
seeing as it was garrisoned by death guards, packed to the brim with Horde players,
Yeah.
and headed to an unknown destination. I immediately knew I had to board it. Using corpse walking, I res inside the
Oh.
airship and fly off into the distance, eagerly awaiting unknown lands. Now the very unfortunate thing was that an orc found me.
Oh, shit.
Considering I revealed myself, that really shouldn't have come as a surprise. As
Yeah.
he enforced natural selection at its finest, I managed to hold on to
Oh.
dear life just a tad longer by doing my sexy dance. When he started skanking, I actually thought I was safe.
Wait.
But lo and behold,
Oh my
he was still gonna end me. And just as I'm about to die, we entered the loading
Okay.
zone to Kalimdor. Having mildly better internet
Oh,
than my
great, now we
oppressor,
can go over to
I seize the
Orgrimmar.
moment and
It's
jump
even
out
better.
of the blimp. I land safely in the water and swim to the shore. However, it didn't take long
Yep.
for me to realize that this was no place for a night elf. With a great
No.
sense of urgency, I decided
No,
to
it's
take the
not.
airship back. In Durotar, you can expect to run into just a few, just a couple Horde players
Yeah.
taking advantage of the free public transit. I zoom past them and
I
hide
guess so.
in the cargo hold. Everything was going smoothly until I was yet again discovered by an orc. I tried to
he'll be nice.
negotiate
This guy
with
will be
him, but
nice.
I
He won't
quickly
attack him.
discovered that he had all the leverage.
very polite.
When he inevitably
Very nice.
tries to stab me, I jump out of the Zeppelin. I survive the fall just to be met by a small army of Horde players that can all see the big red arrow above my head. I suppose what happened next was to be expected.
Yeah.
I'd had enough of this shit and took
Yeah.
the Hearthstone home, flew
Yep.
to Theramore Isle, and ran through Dust Swallow Marsh. With only a handful of deaths, I trek my way through the Barrens and make it to Thousand Needles. So my gnome friend here is one hit away from dying. Naturally, I do everything in my power to save him from this gruesome sheep, who much to my surprise turned out to be an orc under a spell. Man, look at that. That's just goddamn beautiful. Took me 3 hours. Now in WoW, you can't actually communicate
Oh,
with the
dude.
Horde. Whatever they write gets distorted into Orcish, but
He's
people have figured
pissed.
out how to type shit in Orcish. And when I tried
Yep.
questing only to be slain time and time again by this bastard who kept telling me to go back to retail, I'd had enough of this terrible place. In a
Yep.
last-ditch effort, I went to Gadgetzan to pick up a flight path so this entire journey hadn't been for nothing. And that was the very moment that I received a message from the gnome, asking if I wanted to join in on farming Scarlet Mon monastery, on the condition that I stopped picking on gnomes. Even knowing my track record with dungeons in WoW, I convinced myself that this was the move. Seeing as the boss could yield an X I wanted more than anything else in this game. Therefore, I went all the way back to Hillsbrad Foothills and met up with Larry. Big boy. And this is actually the funny part. Remember that entire journey I just described to you?
Yeah.
Now I had to do half of it again. And together with an individual who simply couldn't stop talking about how I should stop being mean to gnomes.
So you like to pick on little guys, eh?
With 10% luck, 20% skill, and 15% concentrated power of will, we actually make it to our destination in one piece. Now, if almost every dungeon leading up to this was a full-blown clusterfuck, this was a well-oiled machine, a symbiotic magnum opus, showcasing teamwork and synergy I never thought possible.
The true classic
Having
experience.
several mages busting through armory is a fucking beautiful sight to behold.
It is.
Prior to this, if I aggroed a few mobs, I was the bastard who fucked up.
Yep.
Now, anything less than 10 mobs was considered wasting time.
It is.
I had to throw in the towel and admit, alright, I'm having a good time here, this is fucking gameplay. Larry even drank the Noggenfogger elixir, which made him even smaller. And honestly, I respect a man of that size. These gnomes were clearly giving me the absolute hookup, and I could do nothing but reciprocate. Leading us to the part in the intro which I so shamelessly clickbaited you with. Unfortunately, I'm sorry to inform you that nothing extraordinary happened beyond that point. We ran the dungeon a couple times. I got Herod's helmet and shoulders, yet no axe.
Where's Ravager?
The day after, I decided to try again with a new group.
What the hell is this guy doing? Oh, there you go.
Painfully slow. We ran the dungeon for 4 hours before the Ravager finally dropped, at which point, Svanpult, the man who'd previously informed me that the axe was of no use to him, needs on it, and I lose the 50-50 roll. Dungeons in World of Warcraft, man. I'm starting to see a pattern here.
What a dog shit game. What a dog shit game.
As a silver lining to end the video on a high note, I rekindled with my bangin' WoW GF Elizabeth.
Wow.
She'd been grinding the real world, resulting in a solid level
What a
deficit,
loser.
landing me the power position in the relationship.
That's right.
Financially, I was a powerhouse. DPS-wise, I was a primal fucking animal. And that's why they always come crawling back, especially if you don't tell them about the letter from Big Titty GF. Anyways, that's the end of our journey for now. Getting E-smashed with presumably women. Would our hero ever get the Ravager axe? Would Swak Victus rise to the occasion? And what gruesome adventures awaits our hero? I suppose you'll find out if I don't quit playing this game. Which I might.
Oh my god, dude. Oh my god, dude. I think the best part about this is, like, as a good player, or not a good player, but like an experienced player, right? You, like, see him sitting there with, like, a heroic strike queued up, and it's like, bro, just hit the fucking, just go, and you hit execute, and he doesn't hit execute, he's just fucking around. Now, we are gonna watch the next one, but we're not gonna watch it right now, because right now, there's something else you guys are gonna have to watch, and that is me hitting.
Hey, look. They got one of those purple mattresses. I've heard about these. It's supposed to sleep cool, and it's specially designed to cradle your pressure points. Huh? Freeze!
A lunchbox that unfolds into an eating mat. So you can serve your meal anytime, anywhere. Just pull one zipper and you'll have your table set no matter where you are. At the office, in the park, or a romantic dinner. We'd rather have you not eat like this. One significant advantage of Foldy is its ability to be, spell it with us, modular. A regular day at work, pack it small and make it compact. Just 1 or maybe 2 containers. Bulking up for the gym, maybe 3 will suit your needs. Long day ahead, easily pack up to 4. And, of course, you can carry it or not carry it. Plus, the mat is reversible, so you have 2 styles in 1. An insulation layer inserted between the faces keeps the temperature steady. Magnetic bands hold the dips and cutlery in place. And when things get messy, simply throw it in the washing machine. Now, let's talk containers. We don't believe in awkward shapes. We design them to be fair and square. 6.5 wide by 2 inches tall, so you can fit them for less, for more, and for all. Liquids? When it comes to liquids, there is nothing safer than a screw cap. That's why we have a container just for that, with extra foam installation. Because your support is essential for us at this stage, all Kickstarter backers will have a free liquid container included. But wait, there's more. Containers come with a food separator, so you can easily portion your meals. When needed, custom gel packs fit between containers, cooling both of them. Fold Eat's holding ring can keep you entertained. So yes, Fold Eat has it all. Packing and eating on the go will be so simple, you'll even be able to keep up with your New Year's resolution diet. Back Fold Eat now and make it your essential tool for a healthier lifestyle.
Let's go ahead. We're going to watch this video. Last one. Hopefully, is he continuing the series? I hope he is.
I'm out of range.
Yes? Okay, good.
Last time, our hero attained the Whirlwind X, traveled to unknown lands, fruitlessly farmed Scarlet Monastery, and rekindled with our bangin' WoW GF. Continuing the adventure, I bricked my computer trying to install an SSD.
Yeah. Hey.
And decided that in the spirit of fiddling with mechanical contraptions much too complex for my feeble human mind, I wanted to be an engineer. You see, I wasn't having fun with mining and blacksmithing, so I picked two of the most financially viable professions in the game in exchange for the least profitable job in Azeroth. A stark contrast to being an engineer in real life. Ignoring the impending need for money to buy a mount at 40, I viscerally followed an engineering leveling guide, knowing full well that my viewers would send me money to give me the authentic Asmongold experience. I spent a good 15 minutes making this jump, so please appreciate my position of tinkering. No one in this game seemed to acknowledge my masterful movement. Anyways, I decided that the steep price for coarse stone on the auction house was a bit of a ripoff, and decided to go all the way to Darkshore to get them myself. After a few hours, 30 minutes of honest work, I returned to Ironforge. Before I started this gruesome endeavor, I wish someone had told me that the level cap for my professions scale with my actual level. I had basically just wasted a bunch of time and gold to familiarize myself with the steep learning curve of this bastard 15-year-old game.
Yeah. I still keep thinking it's Swole Dickus.
I disconnected, and a bug spawned me into guaranteed death by drowning in a location where I couldn't possibly recover my corpse.
Oh, you can go get the title
Blizzard, though. I got to my destination faster.
5 subs.
Together with my companions, I went back to Scarlet Monastery, where we got ambushed by angsty teenagers. Unlike my friends who fought bravely, I pathetically begged for my life, and bought myself some spare time by performing a sacred mating ritual. Lil Sundo the Lich graciously spared my life. When entering the dungeon, I experienced the usual fuckery that I've grown all too accustomed to at this point. Our healer dies and asks me to actually taunt the mobs. I inform our healer that I don't use defensive stance because I have too much testosterone. Our DPS claims he's doing everything and that I'm not capable of DPSing.
I'm sure they'll like that.
So
why are you playing a tank?
Yet I let the numbers speak for themselves.
Oh, winking damage meters.
Dies in the extremely
he's learning the game now.
Move, after which she tells me that I should have held aggro. Our quote-unquote DPS then cowers in fear instead of attacking the boss.
Wait, that's a DPS?
We wipe and start all over.
Backpedaling away without auto attack?
Once we finally manage to take down the boss, he drops these 6 set pants. I roll a 22 and a single tear falls down my face. We try to run the dungeon one more time, and with our inoptimal setup, we painstakingly skank our way through the whole thing.
That's impressive.
Excited, I type. Now the axe drops, and I roll a
right.
99.
What if somebody
However,
rolls
the
a
boss
100?
was nowhere to be found because I'm apparently incapable of properly resetting a dungeon. Apparently, leaving and re-entering isn't enough. You also had to click a button. Since I'm goddamn tired of showing you me farming armory over and over again, here's my 37th run where I finally acquired
47.
the Ravager.
Yeah! There it is, dude.
This is the single biggest upgrade to the stand-and-hit
Oh,
gameplay.
man.
Now this game is fucking easy. What? I don't even gotta do anything. Although, for fear of copyright infringement, I recreated this music piece myself with a royalty-free beat. You spin me right round, baby, right round. When we go down, down.
I hear that. Yeah, all right.
I couldn't really find a matching beat, but you know,
that's really good.
Times are tough. Then I checked my mail to find the most
Take
generous
my
donations to a crusade thus far. Daddy Chill graciously offers
Wait,
up
is that the
fiery
burning
war axe, or as he calls it, his kook cleaver. My first purple piece of gear.
God.
Excited to test it out, I go to Stranglethorn
Wow.
Bay, the North Korean border of Azeroth.
Wow.
Home to the Gurubashi Arena, a coliseum of free-for-all PvP, where once every 3 hours the arena chest spawns. It was 6 a.m. and I decided to try my luck. At this ungodly hour, the arena wasn't filled with dozens of people, but rather just 2 individuals.
Just 2 dipshits.
Survivor was a level 44 warrior, and
Kill
since
him,
I
dude.
could tell he was enjoying World of Warcraft,
Kill him.
I decided to
Kill his
extend
ass,
the
dude.
game's lifespan for him by a
Kill
couple
his ass,
minutes,
dude.
landing me the arena chest on my first
Wait,
try.
what?
I'll have you know that in over 100 hours of game time,
Oh,
looting
it's
this
so
chest
toxic,
with PTSD
dude.
from all the rogues that have previously unstealthed behind me, with the most nerve-wracking 5 seconds yet.
Wow.
Perhaps on par with Hrothgar's final moment.
No execute? Yeah, why have an execute?
Damn you, turtle. I later tried
Sad.
again at 9 and 12 a.m., and it turns out I just got extremely lucky.
Yes.
It's nearly impossible to get this damn chest.
Yes.
Satisfied with the spoils of battle, I went to Booty Bay, where I found an AFK player. Going against my better judgment, I decided to ruin his day. I should have looked twice though, because this was no player. It was the Horde Griffin Master, who ended my measly existence in seconds. I said,
I remember
fuck this,
thinking he
it's
was a
time to
player,
go on an
too.
adventure. I managed to
I
get on
never
the
hit him,
mountains
though.
between
I was smarter
Stranglethorn and
than that.
Darkroot by glitching up a wall. I looked into the horizon and immediately knew I had to go where no night elf had dared venture.
Yeah.
When I saw the hard, clear-cut line in the textures, I knew that Blizzard didn't intend for us to access this area. It looks fucking cool though. Exploration is definitely one of my favorite parts of MMOs.
We do this all the
Since
time.
this is a
This is
long
great.
journey,
I love
I'll
it.
tell you a story along the way.
Okay.
So you know how I've consistently been getting disconnected from WoW? What
Yeah.
if I told you that the problem wasn't the Blizzard servers, but in fact my own computer?
I wouldn't
This is
believe you.
fucking nuts, right? But in my motherboard, there's this thing called a CMOS battery. And apparently,
What?
Windows relies heavily on this battery to tell the time. After 6 years, my CMOS battery had ran out of power, which caused my BIOS to not be able to store the time. 5
what?
to 10 times a day, it would set my Windows time to 11:30 p.m. What's funny is that my router relies on the time, so it would pop me off my internet every time that happened. I'd like to say that's why I haven't streamed in months. But truth be told, it's because I fucking hate streaming. Anyways, I ordered a new CMOS battery online, but because I'm
same.
stupid,
Yo, same,
possibly
dude.
because my parents dropped me on my
Fucking
head as a
sucks.
kid, but likely just due to my lack of education,
Totally
I
sucks.
bought the wrong one. And this next part is kinda unbelievable, but genuinely true. I happened to find the correct battery lying on the ground outside of where I do physiotherapy for my scoliosis.
That's
Together
bullshit.
with a friend, I busted
No
open my
fucking way,
computer
dude.
only to find myself in a troubling predicament. My
Okay.
motherboard, the Asus Maximus Formula 6, has
Yeah.
all this armor on it, and along with it, a massive design flaw. To get to the CMOS, I would have to literally take my entire PC apart
Just buy a new
to
one.
then unscrew the armor from the
Just
back
buy
of
a
the
new one.
motherboard, then install the new CMOS, put everything back together, and possibly twice in case the battery I found on the ground was used. Considering that it's 6 years since I built this PC and I almost bricked it trying to install an SSD, it's safe to assume that this process would completely break my computer.
Yes, there's
My
no way you're
solution?
getting through that.
I decided to
There's
use
no way.
knives, scissors, and pliers to directly cut into my motherboard. Oops. Eventually building my frustration to the point where I brutally ripped off the armor with my bare hands. Yeah! After
God
which
damn.
I put in the mysterious battery that I fucking found on the
God
concrete
damn.
outside, plugged my computer
Okay.
back in, and it literally fixed the entire problem with no repercussions.
Great.
Moral of the story? Use power tools on your motherboards, kids.
Keep
And
track
also,
of your
I
time.
really needed some filler for the middle of this video. I don't know if you can tell. Anyways,
Okay.
this is where
Yeah.
I ended up. I'd gone all the way past Darkwood, Deadwind Past, and the corner of the Blasted Lands, behind Zul'Gurub, to finally
course.
end up at the back end of the Tainted Scar.
Yes.
From where I only had one path available to me. I
Right.
engaged in a kerfuffle with gravity and stress tested my bones. I was then forced into
Stress
a 10-minute
test failed.
resurrection sickness and a 25% durability penalty on all my equipment.
Oh, that's
Mind
great.
you, in an end game zone with
Oh.
one singular
Oh, yeah,
horde
this
player
is-
who enforced
he's-
his own all-encompassing no Hearthstone
Yeah, he's a little bit
philosophy.
low level for
After
this,
a fun
huh?
reminder of what World of Warcraft is actually like, I returned to the intended gameplay
Yeah.
experience.
Of
I
Scarlet
made
Monastery.
a dreadful choice when I decided to go
Ooh.
questing in Arathi Highlands.
Oh, that's a
Gotta kill these
mistake.
elite mobs. Unbeknownst to my party, I'd already attempted this yesterday with different people and I had Otto's head.
Yep.
There's two bosses, the other being Falcon Crest. You know the drill. We corpse walk into the castle. I
The
don't
exact
have any
same
healing
thing.
potions, and I refuse to use shields.
Fuck 'em,
Of
dude.
course,
Never
we
use a
fail
shield.
miserably. But you gotta understand,
Oh,
we're
yeah.
veterans of this shit. At level 36, we're dungeon-hardened fucking animals.
right.
All of us have been through
That's
this
right.
countless times. It's
That's
a
right.
goddamn well-oiled machine. Our mages polymorph Otto and the regular elite mob, a spell that would keep them as helpless sheep for 45 seconds, if not for the fact that we immediately damage them breaking the spell. With our
Why?
primal instincts, we execute extremely basic
Why?
game mechanics and
Why do
exude
that?
the very simple coordination required
Uh,
to beat this. That is right until a party of Horde players waddled in
Okay.
and clearly demonstrated that they didn't intend to wait 10 minutes for these dudes to respawn. We
Okay,
wipe
dude.
And begrudgingly return to the castle, then
Typical
wait
Horde.
patiently. That is until 7 minutes later, when I realized that Falcon Crest's loot belonged
Yep.
to us, as one of our party members had been
Ooh.
alive when our assailant killed him, leaving not just all 5 Horde players unable to complete the quest, but also my
They didn't
4
wait
core
for him to
comrades
reset.
who'd be able to rectify the situation in 3 measly minutes. It was at this point I said, "It's been a pleasure doing business with you," and continued my crusade to ruin the authentic classic experience. I decided I'd had my fill of the patented kill an orc in a castle gameplay, and
Yeah.
began the quest chain for all of Scarlet Monastery.
Ooh.
Seeing as I'd farmed one wing 37 times, I
Might
might
as well do it again.
experience the whole dungeon.
Yeah.
After undergoing a multitude of repetitive
He
tasks,
also did the library,
I
to be
headed to
fair.
Desolus. Now you might recall me having a tough time in Stone Talon
Oh,
Peak,
no.
which is on the way to where I'm going.
He dances
I made sure
with
to
me.
rectify
Oh,
the
jeez.
situation at hand. It's always exciting discovering
Killing
a new
gray
place
levels.
you've never been to. You never know what's
Perfect.
gonna happen. You could see a reskin of a mob you've already killed hundreds of times.
Yeah, wow.
Slightly different looking NPCs with one of the dozen voices you've heard countless times.
Incredible.
Or maybe you'll even see purple
What
water.
brings you
if
here?
you're really lucky, you'll get the pleasure of doing an escort mission. God, I love this 15-year-old game. It's so bad, but so good.
Yep.
Questing in Desolus did have its moments. After getting ganked, I
I
got
don't know about
revived
that.
by a holy saint who complimented the videos. Little did he know that he was about to receive a multitude of letters containing copy-pasted homoerotic poetry. Make it happen. That's your boy
What
taking
the
on
fuck?
6 mobs at once, by the way. Twice an
Okay.
hour, I get to speed up the gameplay. This
Yep.
is sick. I also met Chargy, who stopped me from killing Horde players under
He
the
says,
guise
"No,
that
leave."
we're not like them.
We have honor?
The stance he would uphold right until we
Not
ran
like
into a
that
Horde player nearly
monkeys?
having soloed an elite boss that he needed to kill. At which
Oh,
point,
no.
Chargy threw his morals out the window and did what had to be done. After killing a bunch of skeletal warriors,
Yeah,
we
you know,
each
hey,
went our own way.
gotta do what you
he
gotta
then
do.
got his corpse camped by that Horde player until he had to log off.
He
But
camped me.
honestly,
Yep.
that didn't seem like a me problem.
Oh, no.
You see, I was focused on the task at hand. Putting the
Leveling up.
Ravager to good use on a
That's
part
right.
of the game everyone else seems to be ecstatic about. A part of the game that I personally despise. Scarlet Monastery. Isn't it exciting how a dungeon spanning 4 instances can have the same 3 models for all the enemies? The most thrilling part is that one boss spins. I stand by my original statement. This game is Cookie Clicker, but with more world building.
Yeah,
I'll spare you the boring details.
It does kind of suck.
I lost every roll on every item, with the exception of this useless dog whistle that summons a hound with a minuscule amount of health. As per usual, I got us all killed by pulling too many mobs in the wrong way.
Yeah, what a surprise.
Twice. We eventually beat the dungeon, and I'm sure lots of stuff happened, but let's be honest. Lord knows I'm not going fishing in these 7 hours of WoW recordings that aren't even in chronological order due to the CMOS incident resulting in random timestamps. Instead, I'll cut to me and Michael Scott dancing on an orc who was involuntarily sleeping on the ground. Speaking of not in chronological order, this happened before I fixed my computer. What happened after I fixed it? I started maniacally selling all my silk cloth on the auction house after finding out I'd need 90 gold to buy a mount at level 40,
Just ask
which was
viewers.
soon. I then went
Just
and
ask the
completed
viewers,
various
man.
quests in Stranglethorn Vale. True to the authentic classic experience, they were all very rewarding. Sorry, I pronounced that incorrectly. I meant monotonous. Even though it's something I spent 12 hours of my life on, I can't for the life of me think of a single interesting thing that happened. I could extensively reiterate how we killed some pirates, a sea giant, and hundreds of various exotic animals.
A little bit low level,
but
don't you
truth
think?
be told, I just get goosebumps and flashbacks from all the horde encounters. Look at this shit. They turned me into a sheep.
And you just knows it's going to happen. You just know it's going to...
I felt scummed out at this very moment. So before leaving Stranglethorn Vale, I decided to do something I'd been putting off for a long time. Killing an AFK player. I was entirely unaware that that's what the Booty Bay Bruisers do. Whoa. But, you live, you learn. Eventually, I would go on to kill this spider, turn off the recording software, and then reach level 40.
Wow.
If you called me a sleep-deprived moron, your argument would have fair grounds to stand on. All of my hard work has led me to this point. Every drop of sweat, blood, and tears, and I've saved up 60 gold. It's actually now that it dawns on me I need 30 more. So when I came to find that Steck had sent me a mail telling me to put these up my behind, containing 25 gold and 60 tin bars, along with 7 grime-encrusted objects, and 10 unidentifiable clumps of organic matter, I was pleasantly surprised, to say the least. And whilst we're on the subject of mail, if you guys don't stop asking me for I'm just not gonna show your mail. I'm trying to be monetized here, alright? Anyways, with my newfound riches, I traveled back to where it all began, Darnassus, where I graciously learned to ride a tiger. I then legally purchased a tiger, and let's be honest, I'm pretty damn majestic right now.
Absolutely beautiful.
However, considering that my viewers paid for half of it, it ain't really all that impressive or fulfilling. So for the ending, here's what we'll do instead. Somewhere in this video, there's an Easter egg which will lead you on a scavenger hunt. If you actually manage to make it to the end, you'll be rewarded with my secret ice cream recipe. Anyways, that's it for now. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you all next time.
So that means I just read the comments and they tell me where to go, right? Like, that's, you know, that's the secret. Trust me, I've been through this before. I know how this works. Yeah, I get it, man. It's a QR code. Listen, I don't do QR codes. I can't subscribe to anybody because for whatever reason, whenever I click sign in on YouTube, it gives me an error. And I have to delete my cookies, but I was like, man, I want cookies, and so I didn't want to delete them yet. So I'm just stuck here and I can't subscribe to anybody or anything.
What would you ask of death?
I'm here to prove that Purple Mattress blows memory foam out of the bedroom.
Only Purple passes the durability test, body heat test, and the all-new HED test, or human egg drop test for the layman. The best test to determine a mattress's comfort and support. Ready, Billy?
No, I just have to...
Perfect. Just look at how the Purple Smart Comfort Grid, made from a super comfy yet ultra supportive material called hyperelastic polymer, cradled those unfertilized chickies. And yeah, they're pretty real. Now, how about that memory foam?
Pick her up. Ready, Billy?
Great. See, unlike memory foam, Purple's unique design cradles your pressure points and redistributes support to the rest of your body, leaving your spine properly aligned. So no more back pain, no matter your body type, sleeping position, or frequency of nightmare. Oh, gee! Especially the ones starring your boss.
So what does this mean?
The purple's comfortable?
Good boy, Billy.
Whoa, Jake, that was terrible form. More wrist.
Oh. Billy, can you clean this up, please?
Yeah.
Did you know memory foam was developed in 1966? That's 10 years older than VHS. And what's crazier is the technology hasn't even changed. You're getting half-century-old technology with all of its problems. So many companies are desperate to call their mattresses high-tech, so they sandwich a little bit of tech into the memory foam. 98% memory foam is still 98% crap. That's a lot of crap you're sleeping on, brother. And sisters, you guys? Purple is the most durable comfort technology in scientific history. While the compact structure of memory foam breaks down and falls apart over time, Purple's proprietary material keeps shape and stays strong. No more lumpy mattresses and no more body impressions. Speaking of impressions, memory foam has a big problem. It sleeps hot, and when exposed to body heat, it softens and loses support, causing you to sink faster than my hopes and dreams at senior prom. Or Blockbuster Video, those guys, I feel bad, but they made some mistakes in their hierarchy and they just... Deep sleep requires low stimuli. Purple is temperature neutral. Its grid design and aerated sidewalls create serious airflow so your body heat doesn't affect your sleep. Stop looking for sleep in all the wrong places. Forget memory.
Let's go.
Last episode was all about world exploration, questing, getting our mounts at 40, and engineering. So today, the primary focus is dungeons, dungeons, and lots of dungeons. By the way, I've realized that I hate these 3-minute prologues, so let's cut to the chase and stop beating around the bush.
Let's
we
go.
activate the altar of the keepers and summon the stone men. When you kill each one, they blow up. So any seasoned WoW veteran will hide behind the pillars. Personally, I chose to face tank every explosion, take aggro on the last mob, get our whole party wiped, and report Staya for toxicity when he called me bad. Then we may have wiped again after someone riled up a mob of dark dwarves. After which, and you wouldn't believe this, we wiped yet again. The way I see things, no one's really to blame. We're all equally at fault here.
That's usually what the person who does it wrong says.
We activate the altar of Arcadeus, and I gotta be honest, this is probably the coolest boss thus far.
This guy's a
Alderman
badass.
is a sick dungeon, both thematically and in the sense
11
that you
damage.
need a sick sense of humor to design this fight. Arcadeus slowly summons these tiny useless stonemen one by one, and then suddenly, when you expected the least, 2 giant elite mobs zoom in and altercate our experience for the worse. After walking a moderate distance to be ganked right in front of the entrance to the dungeon by a stun-locking rogue, leading us to walk yet another moderate distance, it appears that the mobs have all respawned. And it is for this very reason that World of Warcraft is by bastards and for fuckers. Anyways, this is how you're supposed to complete the fight. You actually don't attack him, you just drag him all the way upstairs.
So he doesn't summon the
bosses.
bosses.
It'll take ages for the elite mobs to reach you, and you can defeat Arcadeus in the meantime, as they say.
Makes it a lot easier, doesn't it? Oh, that's
They
good.
don't say that.
That's... The Adventure of Swaldicus, Morons and Marodon.
You better believe it.
Is there anyone else that goes there? No.
This zone is cool as fuck. In fact, let me tell you about it. Basically, what happened is that in Feralis, I made the executive decision to say, man, fuck this shit. We're gonna do another dungeon. I teamed up with some players I met during a robot chicken escort mission in Tanaris. Along with my now level 60 friend Larry, our party was fucking stacked. Nearly 5 minutes into Zoltan, I acquired the best in slot gloves for my level.
That's a really good one.
We rob some graves and fuck up some zombies. Then walk up this giant flight of stairs and execute the executioner. Free the caged folks, and now begins the kerfuffle. In this really
Which
dope
one?
segment that, unlike most of the game, doesn't
This
just
is one of my
feel like
favorite parts of the
standing
game.
and
I love
hitting,
this shit.
We defeat hordes of enemies, and after a drawn-out, hard-fought battle, we emerge victorious.
Of course.
At which point, the people we saved betray us. Bastards. We make quick work of them.
I never understood that.
Ukor's sand scalp.
Yep.
Watch out for the snakes. Finally, we reach the end of Zul'Farrak, where Garzilla emerges from the water. And
Garzilla.
with absolute conviction, we smite him from this plane of existence.
The beast
Our
has been
group
defeated.
was admittedly a well-oiled machine.
Yeah.
Individually,
You guys
we
are
were
pretty good.
fingers, but together
Yeah, they're
we
clearing
had
through things, no
joined
problem.
to become a hand. There was not a single hiccup, and it was easily one of the cleanest dungeon runs thus far. All my party being mega overleveled probably helped, but I
Yeah, a little
digress. Now,
Well, they're
why
actually
did I go
appropriate
through the
level,
trouble
it
of
seems.
traveling to the southernmost tip of Kalimdor?
There we go. We're good.
Because by completing the Garzilla quest, I'm granted the carrot on a stick, which lets me move 3% faster whilst mounted. Vanilla WoW is monotonous and 15 years old, so I made the executive decision to diminish the game's lifespan. Then these trained World
Same.
of Warcraft professionals taught me about a secret jump. There's one single pixel that'll allow you to get on the cage in Gadgetzan, leaving you just out of range of the Gadgetzan bruisers, meaning you're free to
no,
attack
he's
the
showing
horde
safe
players with
spotting. Oh,
theoretically
no.
no repercussions.
Oh,
That is until the spot
no,
is taken
man.
over by these fine gentlemen who showed me how it's really done.
Yep, there
After
it is.
dying to some pirates, I left Teneris. Then
a great game.
I yet again made the mistake of exploring new lands in
I'm
search
banned now.
of
Yeah, I'm gonna
quests.
get banned.
I made my way from Duskwood through Deadwind Pass, landing me in the Swamp of Sorrows. A name I would come to find accurately describes the state of affairs around these parts. Although the WoW Wiki said it was appropriate for my level, there's barely any quests here.
That
The
means
only
it's appropriate
noteworthy
for your
thing
level.
was a giant sunken temple,
Oh,
which
no.
happens to have a horde player on it who rudely informed me that I shouldn't be in this godforsaken place. With all my armor now in the red and my Hearthstone on cooldown, I made the journey back to Duskwood.
That's the classic
where
experience
I
right
repaired
here.
my armor and flew to Menethil Harbor, where I met up with Larry, who taught me how to
Okay.
use macros.
Oh,
I
wow.
made one single macro to switch into Berserker stance and activate Berserker Rage.
Oh,
then
wow.
decided that I fundamentally
Okay, that's
had
good.
the optimal setup. By the way, check out this glory shot of me and my tiger. God.
Dude, I don't know how many fucking times, dude, I took screenshots of myself with, like, the sun shining and, like, how there's the rays that go around your character and you feel like you're fucking Jesus, dude. It's so good, man. It is so good.
I'm sick of this game. Anyways, I leveled my engineering to artisan level and crafted a handful of useful tools. You see, in WoW, your character has 2 trinket slots, and at the expense of a moderate amount of gold, engineers get access to devices that can circumstantially be incredibly useful. I made the Gnomish Shrink Ray, which makes my enemy tiny and weak. The Netomatic Projector, which
I should get
captures my enemy
engineering.
in a net.
No,
and the
I think I
parachute
should.
kit that'll allow me to access
Seems like a good
unintended
idea.
areas and get banned by Blizzard. These bothersome furries came up to me and bothered me. They kept asking
what
all
they
these
do.
questions and all this stuff. However, Larry made them disappear by layering me. Always a G. Larry and I started a
Layering
fight
Larry.
pit outside Ironforge.
There it is.
But I had an ace up my sleeve. An ultimate move, if you will. If
Wait, what
we're
server is
speaking
he
in
on?
Metaphors, which we are, I suppose you could say I had one in the chamber. I was going to lure my opponent outside of the ring and trap him with my net, letting me win the duel even if I'm way lower level and under geared. Sadly, the net backfired and I captured myself, leaving me at the mercy of an absolute whooping. I'd had enough of PvP and ran Alderman again with this role-playing dwarf who would type Drinky every time he sat down to drink. We nailed the whole dungeon without a single mistake, and Drinky was an absolute fucking god at this game.
Drinky.
He taught me how to use the rasp emote.
Drinky.
I then won the roll for the treasure chest, landing me a pair of completely trash bracers
Wow.
that I would go on
Congrats,
to vendor for close
dude.
to no monetary gain.
Yeah.
To summarize about 10 hours of my life, even with PvP trinkets, free action potions, and a level advantage, I still don't beat mages 1v1 in world PvP. I also
never will.
still don't know if I'm enough of a man to level to a point where I'd have fair grounds on which to review WoW Classic. And yes, I still ninja loot chests without rolling for them. It's worth it, I'm telling you. I make
Always do that. This whole bullshit that people have about, oh, well, I'm going to go ahead and, you know, fucking not, what do you call it? Not do a shit. You always just loot the chest. And the way that I do chests is I loot it, and if it has something good on it, I link it, and I'm like, all right, let's roll on the item. Like, I know that's not what most people do, but that's the way I've played it for a long fucking time. Sub mode, yeah, we had some bots. Mods are dealing with the bots.
Off like a bandit. Then I made a tailor turn my mage weave cloth into mage weave bolt, at which point Rashmak approached me with a dubious offer with materials that I could purchase in the auction house for what I would describe as compromising monetary setback. He would enchant my fiery war axe with a fiery enchant, making it a fiery war axe.
A fiery war axe. That's great.
I fucking love this game, man. I know it's a bit of a circle jerk, but despite all its flaws, this game is genuinely rewarding. At times, but all these negligible pieces of information are compared to what I'm about to tell you. A few days later is the very moment in time where I would cross paths with my soon-to-be new WoW GF. I met Emiri in Stranglethorn Vale. She'd been mailing me for weeks and had finally managed to find me.
They're not even in a guild.
Considering the solo warrior leveling experience, she was a godsend. Together we completed nearly every single quest in Stranglethorn.
What the fuck is he doing?
After which we got E-smashed at 6 a.m.
It's such a dog shit game. Like, just watching new players play the game, it's really funny. Like, you just think about all the things in the game that are just complete fucking dog shit. Like, you just go to attack something, it's a miss. And then they hit you, it's a crit. And then you attack them again, it's a parry. And then you finally kill the mob after, like, running back from your corpse for 5 minutes. And you loot him, and he doesn't drop the item that you need. And you need 10, and you have 3. And then you finally finish the entire quest 2 hours later. And you go back to the town. And you're like, okay, I've gotten this done. And you're a hunter, and they give you cloth bracers that have intellect on them. Or better yet, cloth bracers that have strength on them. It's... Oh, and you don't get hardly any experience either. And you know what you do? You keep playing. Because you're in it now. You're level 44. You're not going to quit now. You're so close. You're going to sit there and endure this until level 60. And you'll hate your life the entire time. And then you think that at level 60 it's going to get better. It won't. But you keep playing anyway because I've already invested 300 hours into this character. There's no way I'm going to quit now. I'm already got to 60. I've got to keep playing. I have to keep playing. I'm already 60. I can't stop. It's great. Like, WoW is probably the best example of the sunk cost fallacy at work.
What the fuck am I doing with my life?
Nobody knows.
In an excited delirium, I decided to ditch Elizabeth for being disloyal and low level. It's entirely unacceptable that she has a real life. And that she's not actively carrying me through the game. It was cute while it lasted, boys.
Later, bitch. 3 silver. Sad.
Emiri, on the other hand, now that's a bangin' WoW GF, let me tell you. Whenever I don't log on for a week or two, I get worry letters in my mailbox. Whenever I do log in or go anywhere, she immediately appears next to me, ready to fight for my life or die trying. Always bringing gifts in form of potions and elixirs, for she is an alchemist.
She's a guardian angel.
She loves killing horde players.
Yeah, she's a guardian angel.
She called Larry a boomer for not revealing his age. That's perfect. Prior to this, Larry was my only real comrade in Azeroth. Now, there are 2. Some would find it creepy that I'm logged in for less than 2 seconds before the DM lands. Jonathan, where have you been? Did you get my message? But I see this as the very level of dedication necessary to be a top-shelf certified S+ 5-star WoW GF. Now, I could talk about the Halloween event.
Oh my god, dude. Imagine logging in, dude. There are people that do this shit to me, dude. Every day I log in and they message me. They're like, bro, dude, you're on early today, man. What up, dude? Hey! Hey, you know what I do? Never respond. Never fucking respond. Because the moment that you respond, they're like, oh, that's my boy, dude. I'm gonna keep messaging you every fucking day. Like, it sounds like an asshole thing, but listen, I'm an antisocial motherfucker, man. Like, I I'm not introverted. I just never like to see anyone, and I like to sit in my room all by myself in the dark listening to heavy metal playing World of Warcraft, okay? I'm not introverted. I just like being alone all the time. That's it. Like, there's never a better mood that I'm in than if my friends cancel plans. Like, yeah, man, we're not gonna go out tonight. I'm like, really? Really? You're not gonna go? Oh, man. Bro, dude, I was looking, dude, man, I wanted to go down to 6th Street and be next to the guy with the snake and the drunk people and the guy that probably has a gun. Wow, dude, that's too bad we're not gonna go down. Oh, and then we don't get to go to the club that you get a hearing disorder from. You can't talk to anyone. Oh man, the drinks are only $8 there for a shot. Oh, dude, I guess we're really gonna miss out today. Shit, okay, guys, I guess I'm just gonna have to stay in today. It's too bad.
How we got these horrendous dwarf masks, about how I ran Zul'Farrak again with a group of skeletons. But honestly, all those tales are benign compared to our journey to Moradon.
Ooh, that music. Ooh, that music. Ooh, it's fancy, 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 fancy. And now what? This is good. I love this song. This is the real WoW shit right here.
Now, experienced WoW players,
it's more than
honest,
standing and hitting.
may look at that and think to themselves, Moonglade, Winterspring, and Feralas. What in God's name does any of those places have to do with Moradon? Well, allow me to explain how I well and truly shit the bed and made a crucial mistake. Okay. Now I'll up and admit it. I fucking hated the mid-level 40 grind as a warrior.
Everybody
It basically boiled down to inefficiently questing in Teneris and Stranglethorn Vale, or running Zul'Farrak and Alderman. No matter how you look at it, it's just cookie clicker with extra steps. So I was ecstatic to reach level 46, cause that meant I could run Moradon. I wanted to make sure to pick up all the quests for the dungeon, so I looked them up on the WoW wiki. Many of them can be picked up in Desolace, but there was one that I had to travel quite far for. I flew to Menethil Harbor and sailed to Darkshore, from where I went down into Ashenvale, the southeast London of Azeroth. From there, I went onwards up into Felwood. You see, I had my eyes set on Moonglade, where I'd pick up the final Moradon quest. I run past this quest marker with perfect focus, knowing full well that it's more efficient to stay on the task at hand than do every quest I see.
True.
When I reach the Firbolg stronghold, I'm humbled yet again. It turns
there
out
you
that
go.
by default, I'm at war with the Firbolgs. Considering I
Surprise.
can't even manage to fight any single one of them, clearly I'd have to find another way into Moonglade. Emiri joins up with me, and being the perfect WoW GF that she is, she informs me that to ally with the Firbolg, I'd need to grind reputation. Funny enough, wouldn't you believe it? That's absolutely the quest I ran past earlier.
That's a little bit low, man.
Rep in Vanilla WoW is very rewarding.
Oh, they're only 40?
It basically boils down, it's very complex, but it basically boils down to killing the same enemy over and over and over again. So now we start doing the Firbolg's dirty work, and apparently the only way to become friends with these savages is to win a territorial land war with their enemies. Are we even the good guys at this point, or is this indeed what weak cowards would describe as morally abrupt? I'm sure the lore
a little bit of both.
Us, but let's be real, I installed Questy a long time ago. Fuck reading every quest in this game.
Yeah, that was fun for 5
time,
minutes.
We managed to go from hostile to unfriendly, granting us safe passage through the stronghold.
I'm surprised they're not getting
ganked,
ganked,
my crucial
honestly.
misstep started dawning on me.
Yeah, it's crazy.
See, Questy showed absolutely no quest signs anywhere in Moonglade. After a quick double take on the WoW wiki, it turns out this is where the quest ends. It starts in Desolace. As a new player, finding this out was very disappointing.
I bet it was.
Every single other dungeon, bar none, has got their quests spread all over Azeroth. And for whatever reason, the only dungeon where I truly bothered to pick up every single quest and traveled, mind you, literally halfway across the world,
Probably
is the
took an
one
hour.
dungeon that conveniently has all the quests in the same place, right next
That's
to
great.
the dungeon.
Yeah, it's awesome.
Oh boy. All right. Going here may have been foolish, but it was intelligent compared to my next move. You see, I boldly presumed that Moonglade doesn't have a flight path, seeing as the flight master I found was only for druids. Taking the Hearthstone would also be inefficient as it's set in Ironforge,
I have no idea.
which is quite far from Desolus where we're headed. Emiri and I ride all the way back to the Furbolg stronghold and make our way through the end game zone.
It does? Yeah, I have no idea.
When we finally reach
never
the
fucking
flight
go there.
path, I get yet another taste of the delicious first-time WoW player experience.
Getting
you
killed.
See, I didn't have any connecting flight paths to Winterspring, and therefore I wasn't able to fly anywhere. As it turns out, I'm laughing, there is a flight path in Moonglade
What a
that's
great
actually
game.
required to fly
What
from
a great
Winterspring.
game.
It just happens to be in
Amazing.
a random location out in the woods that no
Truly
one
amazing.
would randomly run into. So I go all the way back to Moonglade and pick up said flight path, then fly to Desolus where I meet up with Emiri. And the best part was that at 5 AM, our odds of getting a party for Moradon were close to null. So I humbly come to terms with the fact that I spent an entire night getting 2 flight paths and some reputation, then begrudgingly turn off my computer.
But
the
then
day after, though, I rose to the occasion and
see, that's the thing. Is he logs off, he's like, I hate this game, I'm done, I'm tired with it. And then the next day, he gets up, he's like, well, what am I gonna do? Well, same thing I do every day. And you log back on. You just log back on. Like, there's nothing else to do. Like, that's why I get it. Like, I really don't know what people who don't play World of Warcraft 18 hours a day do with their lives. I don't know. Like, do they just go out and, like, talk? Like, they go to work? Well, I mean, all right, besides work, right? Yeah, of course they go to work. But, like, what do you do with your free time if you're not spending it playing video games all day? It's such a weird concept to me. Because me and everybody that I know, that's all we do. We go home from school or whatever, and we just play video games all day. It's great. And I can't imagine any other life.
finally started playing with my guildies. You see, our old guild, who shan't not be named, had merged with a couple other guilds to form Prevenge, the deadliest fucking group of lethal Azeroth assassins on the planet.
The fuck is Prevenge?
It's actually hella sick to be part of an active guild that actually has their shit together. I even went on Discord with my fellow degenerates throughout our Moradon crusade.
What a fucking nerd.
I look fucking cool, man. Man, you look like a virgin. Hey, man.
The vast...
Oi, bruv. Oi, bruv. Oh my god, dude. I really... Like, one thing that I really think my stream is missing is, besides bots, mods, if you can, besides bots, is being able to go in voice chat without needing to worry about getting banned. I would love to be able to just sit there and voice chat and just bullshit with people all day long. And people can say whatever they want, it's fine. I love that. It's so exciting. And I wish it was more of a thing. Come my Discord then? No. S-Can can do his.
Within the advertiser guidelines.
I don't think I can do
it.
it.
It has been cut from the video.
Yeah.
What you need to know is that Moradon is a fantastic dungeon, and Prevenge is absolutely the best guild on EU Noggenfogger.
Is that
perhaps
right?
with the exception of buying GF. But that's neither here nor there. If the people I normally team up with for dungeons are irredeemable bastards who are lowly intelligent at best, then my Prevenge guildies are Azeroth guerrilla soldiers. They're fucking raid-hardened World of Warcraft primates. They got this shit on lock.
Yeah, they actually are doing pretty good.
Through the dungeon to Princess Theradris. Watch out for the deadly farts. And watch out, she throws a rock.
Yeah, it's very hard to deal with.
We kill her in hopes of getting me the Blackstone Ring, which is undisputedly the best ring warriors can wear until several content updates come out.
That's a big one, dude. I cannot wait to get that.
Rodgrip to try and finesse the Albino Croc scale boots for Emiri, who, by the way, was very loyal when my guildies made advances. After
Okay,
Rot
good.
Grip, we turn our party into a raid party so we can effectively reset the dungeon by logging out and back in. These
Yep.
people knew their shit. We
Oh,
ran the dungeon
shit.
a handful of times and got me the
Sulfuron.
Blackstone Ring, an absolute powerhouse of an
Wow.
item. Then I asked my experienced, wonderful, erratic, temperamental, assertive, bangin' WoW GF
Yeah.
to show me the world. As per the ancient rituals, the bonding is not complete before she takes me on a journey. When she took me to Don Moreau, I began to suspect that this was a ripoff of the Wetlands run, but I should have known that my trust was far from misplaced.
Yeah.
She brought me through the Valley of Kings to a menacing locked gate that leads to the Searing Gorge. To get the key, one would have to undertake a trilogy of quests, but Emiri is goddamn perfect. She's mastered lockpicking and
Oh,
is
wow.
able to lockpick the massive gate, allowing
Damn.
us to ride headfirst into the Searing Gorge.
Oh, that's
a zone
great.
I had only been able to observe from the air.
Probably
a zone
better that way.
had always intrigued me. A zone
Wait, did
that
this-
is absolutely ruthless and filled with horde players.
I was
many
about-
of
I was
which have
just about to say
evidently
this,
forgotten
dude.
to take their ADHD medication.
Yup.
We weren't gonna take it lying
Welcome
down,
to the
though.
game, buddy.
The second we saw Nut Buddy, we jumped him. They feared me, leaving me incapacitated, able to only watch them beat up my WoW GF whilst I cowered in fear. Extremely disrespectful. When they killed
it is.
Emiri, it invoked my primal fucking hatred. With pure skill and absolute determination, I crit Nut Buddy twice, ending his measly
wow.
existence. His friend Bang Doi slows me and flees.
Dude,
like
this
the
is getting me
weak
pumped
coward
for
he is.
PvP, man.
Clearly didn't get the memo.
Like, I'm
that
getting
at level
pumped just
47,
watching
I'm a
this. This
goddamn
is awesome.
expert at this game. I use my macro to
There you
switch
go, click
into
on it.
Berserker stance, letting me intercept his coward.
Root him, man!
With a clean double
He's
truck
getting
from my
away!
Fiery war axe, I
Oh.
stood victorious.
Wow.
So you better believe we camped their corpses. God, I'm glad I picked Night Elf. Stealth, front flips, you move really fast
Oh,
every time
no,
you die.
man.
A fucking tiger for a mount. Anyone not picking
Got
this
him,
race
dude.
are clearly on the wrong side of history.
Fucking got him.
Speaking of being on the wrong side of history, this cunt shamelessly took us out even though he had nothing to do with our kerfuffle. The
That's
fact
right.
that I would go on to forgive Bang Doi and quest on in peace
Free
is
honor.
a testament to how good of a fucking person I am.
Yep.
We went on to let a guy out of a locked bathroom. I question how we ended up in that predicament in the first place, but when I get over 5,000 XP for little to no work,
a good
I
time.
don't ask any
It's
questions.
a really good time.
I just take the progress, turn around, and walk away. This is how you play World of Warcraft. You leave your trusted companion to die so you can loot the scroll
Of
for
course.
the quest. Get hit with a regularly occurring 20-second polymorph. Once you finally break
20
out of
second
said spell, you
CCs.
focus
Vanilla's
on
a great
what's
game.
truly important. The goddamn quest. With your priorities in
Uh-oh.
order,
Amiri's
you
gonna die.
nearly complete the quest, but get interrupted once more. Then die
Oh,
to
that's
the
a big
mobs
execute.
that you could have probably killed had you worked together. Finally, you
Yeah,
undergo
probably.
the Walk of Shame. We went back to Ironforge to sell
I've
some
done that
shit,
many-
stock up on
56
food,
gold.
potions,
Wow.
and to level up my abilities.
All right.
Which, to be honest, I forgot was even a part of the game. Emiri vowed to be my personal alchemist. I got my boy sending me godlike weapons, and my girl
Damn,
brewing
dude.
me potions. My situation
he's getting the
is
Asmongold
godlike,
experience.
and
This
most
is
mod
awesome.
players are not this lucky. She even
Yep.
made me homemade cheese.
Yeah,
It
this
was
is good.
delicious. We teamed up with Larry on his second character, which made me feel a little bit iffy about my own progress. Not just had he leveled his gnome warrior to 60, he was also approaching my level on a paladin. Granted, it's the easiest class to play
Got
in
him.
the game. It's basically an Azeroth RuneScape simulator. If there's one class which is actually just standing and hitting, then that class would be paladin. Speaking of the patented stand and hit
Auto-attack
gameplay,
Andes, dude.
I'll concede
There
that
it
I
is.
was wrong. Vanilla WoW is not just standing and hitting.
Yeah.
You
It's
can
jumping.
also jump. That's a whole element that I left out in my previous statement.
Okay.
And I can see now
Yep.
that there's a whole dimension of gameplay that I had overlooked.
You have to jump at the
Anyways,
same
I
time as
quested
the
with
attack.
Larry and Emiri in the
That's the
Searing
secret.
Gorge. We summoned this dragon.
And then he
I
flew
gotta
away.
be honest. It's been over 100 hours of game time since I followed the plotline of this game.
Yeah.
I have no idea who this dragon is or what he does. For all I know, he
Same. The first time that I figured out that the guy was the dragon was actually in Classic WoW. Every other time that I did the quest line, I never could complete it because I didn't know that you had to click the staff in front of him in order to keep doing the quest. So I could never get to the end of the quest line. I never knew what would happen.
could be the final boss, or maybe he's our friend. All I know is I
Not
don't
quite.
ask any questions. I take the XP and walk away. I would go on to jump in the lava and die. Naturally, my
Congrats.
comrades jumped in as well to make me feel better. It goes back to the age-old saying, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you do it?
Yeah.
Well, if you want to be a top-shelf certified 5-star WoW GF, the answer is yes. No hesitation.
no.
With haste. Immediately. We
Oh,
then farmed
no.
Incendisaurs for XP, finished off a
Okay.
bunch of quests, and then traveled to Stranglethorn Vale to take a shot at the arena chest.
I'm sure that'll
Not
go well.
just is there potentially spoils of battle, but if you actually spend
Yeah.
countless hours to loot it and get the Arena Master 12 times,
That's a
you
lot.
can turn them in for the Arena Grandmaster trinket.
I should
which
maybe
is
get that.
actually half decent.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
This game, man.
One of these days I'll get
The
that.
moment the chest spawns, I greed for it, only to be fumbled by a priest with his cursed spells. I have no idea what they do, but they interrupted my looting. It didn't matter though, because
dude.
being a group at the arena is so scummy. Having 2 bodyguards skanking on my behalf, I
Yep.
managed to loot the chest, aka
Yep.
the authentic Asmongold experience, and I make off like a bandit.
Oh no, man.
To celebrate our absolute victory, we decided to sail out for adventure. Sadly,
Okay.
with my brainlet, lukewarm
Okay.
IQ, and absolute piss-poor hand-eye coordination, I fall off the boat. When it takes off,
Yeah.
most people would be surprised to find out that I have access to forbidden knowledge. I merge with the boat and start frivolously skipping across the water.
What
You
the
fools!
fuck?
You underestimated my power all along!
What the fuck?
I'm unstoppable! Look at the technique, the grace, the dignity.
What the
all this
fuck?
time, I faked being a really bad beginner at this game, when deep down at the
What
very
the
core of my
fuck
being
is this?
was actually the greatest of all time, a true legend.
How the hell
of
is he
Azeroth.
doing
I'm
this?
actually the fucking champion, is what I'm telling you. Do you
I've never
feel
seen
my
this
sheer
before.
fucking energy? The
Oh my
spring
God.
in my step, the glint in my
This is
eye,
crazy.
the fire in my belly. What do you take me for? A goddamn fucking casual? No, I'm the greatest! And then I load into Kalimdor, losing all my momentum. Incredibly unfortunate. Along with me, my ego was buried at sea. I had dreamed of a glorious death in battle with demons, gods, or even drawing my last breath killing horde players.
Yeah?
Yet in my final moments, I'm cold, alone, and I have no one to blame but myself. Moral of the story? Fucking trash, 15-year-old game. You can't even boat skip. Literally unplayable.
The game sucks. The game sucks dick. What a bunch of trash. Alright. So, this video was actually really good. I didn't really know what to think about it or anything like that, but the video was genuinely good. People pushed me to watch these videos for a while. I'm not logged in. Asmon, where's your WoW girlfriend? Okay. Alright. Alright. That's fine.
The video you're about to see is the most serious video Purple has ever created. Why? Because there's one thing we don't joke about, and that's science. Welcome to Purple.
I'm Terry Pierce. My brother Tony and I started working on high-tech cushioning together about 30 years ago. We have a lot of fun at Purple. We have fun at work. We have fun with science in our videos. But when it comes to our products, we are serious about science. The Purple hyperelastic polymer works on a principle called column buckling. You can see on the side the buckling of the columns as it supports the load in a wider and wider area to keep the pressure uniform. I love it because the pressure points go away. I love it because it supports my back and it's easy on my shoulders. So we use science not only to develop the products and the technologies, but to build the machines that mold them. These are machines that don't exist anywhere else in the world. Purple's hyperelastic polymer is such a great technology. It can be applied anywhere you need comfort.
My name is Tanner Whedon, and this is Lars Hamilton. And we invent new products at Purple.
Our job is to take what Terry and Tony have invented and put them into products that people absolutely love.
Our greatest challenge is pinpointing exactly where people experience pain. So whether that happens in their daily activities or when they sleep at night, we want to develop products that prevent and alleviate those pains.
And part of that process is our prototyping and testing, where we do rapid iterations to involve the customer as early as possible. And as we create the prototypes, we learn what that pain really is for them.
We want to make sure that every time a person interacts with a Purple product, that they have a positive and comfortable experience.
We are never satisfied with what's out there. We always want a better experience.
We're always going to be finding the newest materials and developing the newest materials to invent new products.
We create
Yo, let me start this group. Like, let's get Jabbermeister. Let's get some people in here. It would have just been another 415. I mean, like, who?
I'm here to prove that Purple mattress blows memory foam out of the bedroom.
Only Purple passes the durability test, body heat test, and the all-new HED test, or human egg drop test for the layman. The best test to determine a mattress's comfort and support. Ready, Billy?
No, I just have to. Perfect.
Just look at how the Purple Smart
I'm here to prove that Purple mattress blows memory foam out of the bedroom.
Only Purple passes the...
Let's go.
Fire in my belly! What do you take me for? A goddamn fucking casual! No! I'm the greatest!
I love this song. This is some real WoW shit right here. Sometimes
now, experienced WoW players...
It's more than
honest,
standing and hitting.
I may look at that and think to themselves, Moonglade, Winterspring, and Farah.
Give me a minute here. Okay. Let's go.
Last time, our hero sold a Noman axe after making him dance naked.
One gold for
had
the
a 4
Prospector
a.m.
axe?
work party in the Dead Mines dungeon.
Oh my
Attained
God.
2 pieces of blue gear and got slaughtered by the Horde countless times. Last episode was all about world exploration, questing, getting our mounts at 40, and engineering. So today, the primary focus is dungeons, dungeons, and lots of dungeons. By the way, I've realized that I hate these 3-minute prologues. Last episode was all about world. Last time, our hero attained the Whirlwind Axe, traveled to unknown lands, fruitlessly farmed Scarlet Monastery, and rekindled with our bangin' WoW GF. Continuing the adventure, I bricked my computer trying to install an SSD. And decided that in the spirit of fiddling with mechanical contraptions much too complex for my feeble human mind, Last episode was all about world exploration, questing, getting our mounts at 40 and engineering. So today, the primary focus is dungeons, dungeons, and lots of dungeons. By the way, I've realized that I hate these 3-minute prologues, so let's cut to the chase and stop beating around the bush. We activate the altar of the keepers and summon the stone men. When you kill each one, they blow up. So any seasoned WoW veteran will hide behind the pillars. Personally, I chose to face tank every explosion, take aggro on the last mob, get our whole party wiped, and report Staya for toxicity when he called me bad. Then, we may have wiped again after someone riled up a mob of dark dwarves, after which, and you wouldn't believe this, we wiped yet again. The way I see things, no one's really to blame, we're all equally at fault here. With all our might, we activate the Altar of Arcadeus, and I gotta be honest, this is probably the coolest boss thus far. Alderman is a sick dungeon, both thematically and in the sense that you need a sick sense of humor to design this fight. Arcadeus slowly summons these tiny useless stonemen one by one, and then suddenly when you expected the least, 2 giant elite mobs zoom in and altercate our experience for the worse. After walking a moderate distance, to be ganked right in front of the entrance to the dungeon by a stun-locking rogue, leading us to walk yet another moderate distance, it appears that the mobs have all respawned, and it is for this very reason that World of Warcraft is by bastards and for fuckers. Anyways, this is how you're supposed to complete the fight. You actually don't attack him, you just drag him all the way upstairs. That way it'll take ages for the elite mobs to reach you, and you can defeat Arcadeus in the meantime, as they say. They don't say that. You better believe I started questing in Feralis. This zone is cool as fuck. In fact, let me tell you about it. Basically what happened is that in Feralis I made the executive decision to say, man, fuck this shit. We're gonna do another dungeon. I teamed up with some players I met during a robot chicken escort mission in Tanaris. Along with my now level 60 friend Larry, our party was fucking stacked. Merely 5 minutes into Zul'Farrak, I acquired the best in slot gloves for my level. Ka-ching! We rob some graves and fuck up some zombies, then walk up this giant flight of stairs and execute the executioner. Free the caged folks, and now begins the kerfuffle. In this really dope segment that, unlike most of the game, doesn't just feel like standing and hitting, we defeat hordes of enemies, and after a drawn-out, hard-fought battle, we emerge victorious. At which point the people we saved betray us, bastards. We make quick work of them and move on to kill Uzlu and Ukor's Sandscalp. Watch out for the snakes. Finally, we reach the end of Zul'Farrak, where Garzilla emerges from the water, and with absolute conviction, we smite him from this plane of existence. Our group was admittedly a well-oiled machine. Individually, we were fingers, but together we had joined to become a hand. There was not a single hiccup, and it was easily one of the cleanest dungeon runs thus far. All my party being mega overleveled probably helped, but I digress. Now, why did I go through the trouble of traveling to the southernmost tip of Kalimdor? Because, by completing the Garzilla quest, I'm granted the carrot on a stick, which lets me move 3% faster whilst mounted. Vanilla WoW is monotonous and 15 years old, so I made the executive decision to diminish the game's lifespan. Then, these trained World of Warcraft professionals taught me about a secret jump. There's one single pixel that'll allow you to get on the cage in Gadgetzan, leaving you just out of range of the Gadgetzan bruisers, meaning you're free to attack the Horde players with theoretically no repercussions. That is until the spot is taken over by these fine gentlemen who showed me how it's really done. After dying to some pirates, I left Tanaris. Then, I yet again made the mistake of exploring new lands in search of quests. I made my way from Duskwood through Deadwind Pass, landing me in the Swamp of Sorrows. A name I would come to find accurately describes the state of affairs around these parts. Although the WoW Wiki said it was appropriate for my level, there's barely any quests here. The only noteworthy thing was a giant sunken temple, which happens to have a Horde player on it who rudely informed me that I shouldn't be in this godforsaken place. With all my armor now in the red and my Hearthstone on cooldown, I made the journey back to Duskwood. Rockwood, where I repaired my armor and flew to Menethil Harbor, where I met up with Larry, who taught me how to use macros. I made one single macro to switch into Berserker stance and activate Berserker Rage, then decided that I fundamentally had the optimal setup. By the way, check out this glory shot of me and my tiger. God, I'm sick of this game. Anyways, I leveled my engineering to artisan level and crafted a handful of useful tools. You see, in WoW your character has 2 trinket slots, and at the expense of a moderate amount of gold, engineers get access to devices that can circumstantially be incredibly useful. I made the Gnomish Shrink Ray, which makes my enemy tiny and weak, the Netomatic Projector, which captures my enemy in a net, and the Parachute Cape that'll allow me to access unintended areas and get banned by Blizzard. These bothersome furries came up to me and bothered me. They kept asking all these questions and all this stuff. However, Larry made them disappear by layering me. Always a G. Larry and I started a fight pit outside Ironforge, but I had an ace up my sleeve. An ultimate move, if you will. If we're speaking in metaphors, which we are, I suppose you could say I had one in the chamber. I was gonna lure my opponent outside of the ring and trap him with my net, letting me win the duel even if I'm way lower level and under-geared. Sadly, the net backfired and I captured myself, leaving me at the mercy of an absolute whooping. I'd had enough of PvP, and ran Alderman again with this role-playing dwarf who would type Drinky every time he sat down to drink. We nailed the whole dungeon without a single mistake, and Drinky was an absolute fucking god at this game. He taught me how to use the rasp emote. I then won the roll for the treasure chest, landing me a pair of completely trash bracers that I would go on to vendor for close to no monetary gain. To summarize about 10 hours of my life, even with PvP trinkets, free action potions, and a level advantage, I still don't beat mages 1v1 in world PvP. I also still don't know if I'm enough of a man to level to a point where I'd have fair grounds on which to review WoW Classic. And yes, I still ninja loot chests without rolling for them. It's worth it, I'm telling you. I make off like a bandit. Then I made a tailor turn my Mageweave cloth into Mageweave bolt, at which point Rashmak approached me with a dubious offer, with materials that I could purchase in the auction house for what I would describe as a compromising monetary setback. He would enchant my fiery war axe with a fiery enchant, making it a fiery war axe. Do you know how powerful that makes me? I fucking love this game, man. I know it's a bit of a circle jerk, but despite all its flaws, this game is genuinely rewarding. At times. But all these negligible pieces of information are benign compared to what I'm about to tell you. A few days later is the very moment in time where I would cross paths with my soon-to-be new WoW GF. I met Emiri in Stranglethorn Vale. She'd been mailing me for weeks and had finally managed to find me. Considering the solo warrior leveling experience, she was a godsend. Together we completed nearly every single quest in Stranglethorn. After which we got E-smashed at 6 AM. What the fuck am I doing with my life? In an excited delirium, I decided to ditch Elizabeth for being disloyal and low level. It's entirely unacceptable that she has a real life, and that she's not actively carrying me through the game. It was cute while it lasted, boys. Emiri, on the other hand, now that's a bangin' WoW GF, let me tell ya. Whenever I don't log on for a week or two, I get worry letters in my mailbox. Whenever I do log in or go anywhere, she immediately appears next to me, ready to fight for my life or die trying. Always bringing gifts in form of potions and elixirs, for she is an alchemist. Did I mention she loves killing horde players? And she called Larry a boomer for not revealing his age. She's perfect. Prior to this, Larry was my only real comrade in Azeroth. Now, there were two. Some would find it creepy that I'm logged in for less than 2 seconds before the DM lands. Jonathan, where have you been? Did you get my message? But I see this as the very level of dedication necessary to be a top shelf certified S+ 5-star WoW GF. Now I could talk about the Halloween event, how we got these horrendous dwarf masks, about how I ran Zul'Farrak again with a group of skeletons, but honestly, all those tales are benign compared to our journey to Moradon. Now, experienced WoW players...
It's more than
be honest,
standing and hitting.
may look at that and think to themselves, Moonglade, Winterspring, and Feralas. What in God's name does any of those places have to do with Moradon? Well, allow me to explain how I well and truly shit the bed and made a crucial mistake. Now I'll up and admit it, I fucking hated the mid-level 40 grind as a warrior. It basically boiled down to inefficiently questing in Tenaris and Stranglethorn Vale, or running Zul'Farrak and Alderman. No matter how you look at it, it's just cookie clicker with extra steps. So I was ecstatic to reach level 46, cause that meant I could run Moradon. I wanted to make sure to pick up all the quests for the dungeon, so I looked them up on the WoW wiki. Many of them can be picked up in Desolace, but there was one that I had to travel quite far for. I flew to Menethil Harbor and sailed to Darkshore, from where I went down into Ashenvale, the southeast London of Azeroth. From there, I went onwards up into Felwood. You see, I had my eyes set on Moonglade, where I'd pick up the final Moradon quest. I run past this quest marker with perfect focus, knowing full well that it's more efficient to stay on the task at hand than do every quest I see. When I reach the Firbolg stronghold, I'm humbled yet again. It turns out that by default, I'm at war with the Firbolgs. Considering I can't even manage to fight any single one of them, clearly I'd have to find another way into Moonglade. Emiri joins up with me, and being the perfect WoW GF that she is, she informs me that to ally with the Firbolg, I'd need to grind reputation. Funny enough, wouldn't you believe it? That's absolutely the quest I ran past earlier. By the way, grinding rep in vanilla WoW is very rewarding. It basically boils down, it's very complex, but it basically boils down to killing the same enemy over and over and over again. So now we start doing the Firbolg's dirty work, and apparently the only way to become friends with these savages is to win a territorial land war with their enemies. Are we even the good guys at this point, or is this indeed what weak cowards would describe as morally abrupt? I'm sure the lore told us, but let's be real, I installed Questy a long time ago. Fuck reading every quest in this game. In about an hour's time, we managed to go from hostile to unfriendly, granting us safe passage through the stronghold. This was where my crucial misstep started dawning on me. You see, Questy showed absolutely no quest signs anywhere in Moonglade. After a quick double take on the WoW wiki, it turns out this is where the quest ends. It starts in Desolace. As a new player, finding this out was very disappointing. You see, every single other dungeon, bar none, has got their quests spread all over Azeroth, and for whatever reason, the only dungeon where I truly bothered to pick up every single quest and traveled, mind you, literally halfway across the world, is the one dungeon that conveniently has all the quests in the same place, right next to the dungeon. Oh boy, alright. Going here may have been foolish, but it was intelligent compared to my next move. You see, I boldly presumed that Moonglade doesn't have a flight path, seeing as the flight master I found was only for druids. Taking the Hearthstone would also be inefficient as it's set in Ironforge, which is quite far from Desolace where we're headed. Emiri and I ride all the way back to the Firbolg stronghold and make our way through the endgame zone Winterspring. When we finally reach the flight path, I get yet another taste of the delicious first-time WoW player experience. You see, I didn't have any connecting flight paths to Winterspring, and therefore I wasn't able to fly anywhere. As it turns out, I'm laughing, there is a flight path in Moonglade that's actually required to fly from Winterspring. It just happens to be in a random location out in the woods that no one would randomly run into. So I go all the way back to Moonglade and pick up said flight path, then fly to Desolace where I meet up with Emiri. And the best part was that at 5 AM, our odds of getting a party for Moradon were close to null. So I humbly come to terms with the fact that I spent an entire night getting 2 flight paths and some reputation, then begrudgingly turn off my computer. The day after, though, I rose to the occasion and finally started playing with my guildies. You see, our old guild, who shan't not be named, had merged with a couple other guilds to form Prevenge, the deadliest fucking group of lethal Azeroth assassins on the planet. It's actually hella sick to be part of an active guild that actually has their shit together. I even went on Discord with my fellow degenerates throughout our Moradon crusade.
I don't look disgusting, man. I look fucking cool, man. Mate, you look like a virgin. Hey, man.
The vast majority of our communications does not fit within the advertiser guidelines, so it has been cut from the video. What you need to know is that Moradon is a fantastic dungeon, and Prevenge is absolutely the best guild on EU Noggenfogger, perhaps with the exception of buying GF. But that's neither here nor there. If the people I normally team up with for dungeons are irredeemable bastards who are lowly intelligent at best, then my Prevenge guildies are Azeroth guerrilla soldiers. They're fucking raid-hardened World of Warcraft primates. They got this shit on lock. We basically zoom through the dungeon to Princess Theradras. Watch out for the deadly farts. And watch out, she throws a rock. Whoa! Whoa. We kill her in hopes of getting me the Blackstone Ring, which is undisputedly the best ring warriors can wear until several content updates come out. After Theradras, we jump down and kill Rodgrip to try and finesse the Albino Croc scale boots for Emiri, who by the way was very loyal when my guildies made advances. After Rodgrip, we turn our party into a raid party so we can effectively reset the dungeon by logging out and back in. These people knew their shit. We ran the dungeon a handful of times and got me the Blackstone Ring, an absolute powerhouse of an item. Then I asked my experienced, wonderful, erratic, temperamental, assertive, bangin' WoW GF to show me the world. As per the ancient rituals, the bonding is not complete before she takes me on a journey. When she took me to Don Moreau, I began to suspect that this was a ripoff of the Wetlands run, but I should have known that my trust was far from misplaced. She brought me through the Valley of Kings to a menacing locked gate that leads to the Searing Gorge. To get the key, one would have to undertake a trilogy of quests, but Emiri is goddamn perfect. She's mastered lockpicking and is able to lockpick the massive gate, allowing us to ride headfirst into the Searing Gorge, a zone I had only been able to observe from the air, a zone that had always intrigued me, a zone that is absolutely ruthless and filled with horde players, many of which have evidently forgotten to take their ADHD medication. We weren't gonna take it lying down though. The second we saw Nut Buddy, we jumped him. They feared me, leaving me incapacitated, able to only watch them beat up my WoW GF whilst I cowered in fear. Extremely disrespectful. When they killed Emiri, it invoked my primal fucking hatred. With pure skill and absolute determination, I crit Nut Buddy twice, ending his measly existence. His friend Bangdoi slows me and flees like the weak coward he is. He clearly didn't get the memo that at level 47, I'm a goddamn expert at this game. I use my macro to switch into Berserker stance, letting me intercept his cowardice. With a clean double proc from my fiery war axe, I stood victorious. And you better believe we camped their corpses. God, I'm glad I picked Night Elf. Stealth, front flips, you move really fast every time you die, a fucking tiger for a mount. Anyone not picking this race are clearly on the wrong side of history. Speaking of being on the wrong side of history, this cunt shamelessly took us out even though he had nothing to do with our kerfuffle. The fact that I would go on to forgive Bangdoi and quest on in peace is a testament to how good of a fucking person I am. We went on to let a guy out of a locked bathroom. I question how we ended up in that predicament in the first place, but when I get over 5,000 XP for little to no work, I don't ask any questions. I just take the progress, turn around, and walk away. This is how you play World of Warcraft. You leave your trusted companion to die so you can loot the scroll for the quest. Get hit with a regularly occurring 20-second polymorph. Once you finally break out of said spell, you focus on what's truly important, the goddamn quest. With your priorities in order, you nearly complete the quest, but get interrupted once more. Then die to the mobs that you could have probably killed had you worked together. Finally, you undergo the Walk of Shame. We went back to Ironforge to sell some shit, stock up on food, potions, and to level up my abilities, which to be honest, I forgot was even a part of the game. Emiri vowed to be my personal alchemist, I got my boy sending me godlike weapons and my girl brewing me potions. My situation is godlike, and most WoW players are not this lucky. She even made me homemade cheese. It was delicious. We teamed up with Larry on his second character, which made me feel a little bit iffy about my own progress. Not just had he leveled his gnome warrior to 60, he was also approaching my level on a paladin. Granted, it's the easiest class to play in the game. It's basically an Azeroth RuneScape simulator. If there's one class which is actually just standing and hitting, then that class would be paladin. Speaking of the patented stand and hit gameplay, I'll concede that I was wrong. Vanilla WoW is not just standing and hitting. You can also jump. That's a whole element that I left out in my previous statements, and I can see now that there's a whole dimension of gameplay that I had overlooked. Anyways, I quested with Larry and Amiri in the Searing Gorge. We summoned this dragon. I gotta be honest, it's been over 100 hours of game time since I followed the plotline of this game. I have no idea who this dragon is, or what he does. For all I know, he could be the final boss, or maybe he's our friend. All I know is I don't ask any questions. I take the XP and walk away. I would go on to jump in the lava and die. Naturally, my comrades jumped in as well to make me feel better. It goes back to the age-old saying, if your friends jumped off a bridge, would you do it? Well, if you want to be a top-shelf certified 5-star WoW GF, the answer is yes. No hesitation, with haste, immediately. We then farmed Incendosaurs for XP, finished off a bunch of quests, and then traveled to Stranglethorn Vale to take a shot at the arena chest. Not just is there potentially spoils of battle, but if you actually spent countless hours to loot it and get the Arena Master 12 times, you can turn them in for the Arena Grandmaster Trinket, which is actually half decent. This game, man. The moment the chest spawns, I greed for it, only to be fumbled by a priest with his cursed spells. I have no idea what they do, but they interrupted my looting. It didn't matter though, cause being a group at the arena is so scummy. Having 2 bodyguards skanking on my behalf, I managed to loot the chest, aka the authentic Asmongold experience, and I make off like a bandit. To celebrate our absolute victory, we decided to sail out for adventure. Sadly, with my brainlet, lukewarm IQ, and absolute piss-poor hand-eye coordination, I fall off the boat. When it takes off, most people would be surprised to find out that I have access to forbidden knowledge. I merge with the boat and start frivolously skipping across the water. You fools! You underestimated my power all along! I'm unstoppable! Look at the technique, the grace, the dignity. All this time, I faked being a really bad beginner at this game, when deep down, at the very core of my being, I was actually the greatest of all time, a true legend of Azeroth. I'm actually the fucking champion is what I'm telling you. Do you feel my sheer fucking energy? The spring in my step, the glint in my eye, the fire in my belly! What do you take me for, a goddamn fucking casual? No! I'm the greatest! And then I load into Kalimdor, losing all my momentum. Incredibly unfortunate. Along with me, my ego was buried at sea. I had dreamed of a glorious death in battle, with demons, gods, or even drawing my last breath killing horde players. Yet in my final moments, I'm cold, alone, and I have no one to blame but myself. Moral of the story? Fucking trash, 15-year-old game, you can't even boat skip. Literally unplayable.
And buried deep beneath the waves, betrayed by family, to his nation with his last breath cried, beware the daughter of the sea.
I'm called Gretel, and this rough one here is my brother Hansel.
Tell me the fairy tale again.
It's too scary, start seeing things that aren't there.
Over 250 hours ago, I set out to do one thing and one thing only. Play WoW Classic to a point where I'd have fair grounds on which to review the game. A feat that eludes me to this very day. Personally, I'd argue that at the very least I'd have to reach the max level and kill the final boss. I think that's a strong case for a bare minimum. So how exactly did I end up losing all my gold in an Ironforge gambling ring after being roped into a terrible race war? Well, today's tragic tale starts with the release of Phase 2. One simple change. Killing other players now grants you honor points. The higher your honor rank, the better the rewards. As a new player, I assumed that was just a minor patch and nothing to really worry about. Yet I logged on to see Azeroth on fire. The entire beautiful world they'd built, completely ruined. That's not my opinion either, just objectively. Here's an example. I want to go questing in Western Plaguelands. After dying a moderate amount of times, I finally managed to complete one single quest. Then on the way to the NPC, I died a couple more times. No big deal, except, oh, they have now killed the guy who gave me the quest. Alright, this is no good. We'll have to fly away, except they killed the flight master. This forces us to actually experience what the WoW community calls the meaningful journey. Whilst I do enjoy the part where you're riding through breathtaking areas that clearly stood the test of time, and even 15 years after its release, still manages to captivate the player, and coupled with the legendary music, immerse them into this beautiful world 2% of the time. I don't enjoy 98% of the time, where you want to get into Blackrock Depths, but now they don't just kill the Flight Master, they'll also camp the actual Spirit Healer and indefinitely kill you, forcing you to log off and come back at 4 AM to have some shot at returning to Ironforge like a pussy. Or you could do what I did. But we'll get to that later. Perhaps you want to go to Kalimdor. Tough shit, homie, because you'll run into a field platoon of Horde players, who all claim that they're the captain now, forcing you to take the much more inefficient route by sailing to Darkshore. Now, you could get a free teleport to Teneris once every 6 hours as an artisan engineer, but that would leave your endearing, primal, aggressive, top-shelf certified, 5-star banging WoW GF on her own with all these Horde players. And speaking of Amiri, she remains an absolute animal at this game. Not just has she been sending me care packages, not just does she literally come out of nowhere when I'm about to be killed without having communicated to me in any way that she was going where I was, or how long she'd been stealth near me. She also got her enchanting to 300 just to enchant all my gear. She's perfect. But enough about my e-dating, let's get back to my e-misery. With the world gone awry, a regular PvP server can in a single day turn into an RP nightmare hellscape. The Horde were locking us out of progressing through the endgame content, and it was showing in the cities. This guy in Ironforge was apparently the new king of the Alliance. Everyone followed him in a train and started spreading lies about how he gave gold to everyone following him. It was in the midst of this chaos that I seized the moment and rose to the occasion. I started advertising in the trade chat, pretty much begging for higher level players to carry me through a dungeon I hadn't yet tried. Upper Blackrock Spire, which is technically a small raid, designed to be completed by 10 players rather than 5. Any seasoned WoW player will know that at level 53, you're absolutely not up to the task. But I was an unknowing fool. When Rurik approached me, I said, "Say not a word. I can sense why you have come. You have come to carry me through Blackrock Spire." Rurik laughed at me and proclaimed that he came to call me a milk boy and laugh at my res sickness. After 20 minutes of cringy roleplaying, I'd gathered a full party for Upper Blackrock Spire. I actually had to join the train of lunatics for anyone to listen to me. I don't know how that works. But anyways, you gotta do what you gotta do to get to level 60. After a handful of unavoidable deaths, and a few that could have been avoided had I gone the right way, I finally entered Upper Blackrock Spire. But not before Cybox insists that we remake the party with him as the leader. Like the psychopath control freak he is, turning to Ironforge like a pussy. Or you could do what I did. But we'll get to that later. Perhaps you want to go to Kalimdor. Tough shit, homie, because you'll run into a field platoon of Horde players who all claim that they're the captain now, forcing you to take the much more inefficient route by sailing to Darkshore. Now, you could get a free teleport to Teneris once every 6 hours as an artisan engineer, but that would leave your endearing, primal, aggressive, top shelf certified, 5-star banging WoW GF on her own with all these Horde players. And speaking of Amiri, she remains an absolute animal at this game. Not just has she been sending me care packages, not just does she literally come out of nowhere when I'm about to be killed without having communicated to me in any way that she was going where I was, or how long she'd been stealth near me. She also got her enchanting to 300 just to enchant all my gear. She's perfect. But enough about my e-dating, let's get back to my e-misery. With the world gone awry, a regular PvP server can in a single day turn into an RP nightmare hellscape. The Horde were locking us out of progressing through the endgame content, and it was showing in the cities. This guy in Ironforge was apparently the new king of the Alliance. Everyone followed him in a train and started spreading lies about how he gave gold to everyone following him. It was in the midst of this chaos that I seized the moment and rose to the occasion. I started advertising in the trade chat, pretty much begging for higher level players to carry me through a dungeon I hadn't yet tried. Upper Blackrock Spire, which is technically a small raid, designed to be completed by 10 players rather than 5. Any seasoned WoW player will know that at level 53, you're absolutely not up to the task. But I was an unknowing fool. When Rurik approached me, I said, "Say not a word. I can sense why you have come. You have come to carry me through Blackrock Spire." Rurik laughed at me and proclaimed that he came to call me a milk boy and laugh at my res sickness. After 20 minutes of cringy roleplaying, I'd gathered a full party for Upper Blackrock Spire. I actually had to join the train of lunatics for anyone to listen to me. I don't know how that works. But anyways, you gotta do what you gotta do to get to level 60. After a handful of unavoidable deaths, and a few that could have been avoided had I gone the right way, I finally entered Upper Blackrock Spire. But not before Cybox insists that we remake the party with him as the leader, like the psychopath control freak he is. You run into these people all the time in WoW, and unlike the friendly people, these guys actually have their shit together, so I saw this as an absolute win-win-win. I entered the first room of mobs, and with my level 53 aggro range continued to immediately pull every single mob. All 10 of us get obliterated in probably the worst wipe I've ever caused. Then these level 60 psychos actually started domesticating me. They put me on the bench. They timed me out. My only privilege was watching them from afar whilst they cleared out the mobs. That is until we fought the beast, where I had the brilliant idea of helping my squad by using the Gnomish Shrink Ray, which has a tiny chance of backfiring. I think I got a Gnomish Shrink Ray this guy. Oh, it worked. Oh, that's not what I was going for.
Oh shit. Oh no, he's done.
I'm so sorry.
No.
We barely made it. The rest of the dungeon went pretty smooth. There were 2 worthwhile drops I could use from the dungeon, the Blade Master leggings that Amiri rolled 2 numbers higher than me for, after I accidentally didn't see her message telling me she really needs them, and the Brigham girdle, when my trustworthy companions told me not to need on it.
Is to not roll on belt. I have been trying to get it for a long time.
I knew it was a godly item, so you already know I yeeted that shit with a solid 95. Not gonna lie, it was mega boring to stand back and get carried without lifting a finger. I don't know how Asmongold does it 8 hours a day, but there was one silver lining. I'd jumped on Discord with a couple of these people and they were actually pretty chill. They taught me something that would forever change how I play World of Warcraft. Death rolling. The Azeroth equivalent to playing dice. It's very simple. You bet gold against each other and you slash roll 10 times the amount you bet. Then your opponent rolls the number you got, and the first person to hit one loses. To begin with, I had misunderstood the rules because I am a fucking idiot. I rolled 100 on my first try and assumed that these guys were scammers when they didn't give me any money. What went completely over my head though, was Bob Gnarly running into unfathomable bad luck, hitting a 1 in 330. That's rough, buddy. Once I properly understood the game, they told me tales of a secret gambling ring in Ironforge and one legend who was undisputedly the king of gambling. I had to know what this was all about. I went to Ironforge and this was the first time I would meet Compound, who I'd describe as a man with a severe problem. He'd been standing right here several hours a day for nearly 2 weeks, and his name preceded him for a very good reason. If you were confirmed to be an honorable gambler who pays up, he would take you up on any bet, any amount of times, and he'd cleaned out countless people. To show you guys that I didn't fake what you're about to see, I'm gonna walk you through every single bet I made, but just be warned, this isn't happy hour. I'm not fucking around. I'm goddamn serious. I start out with 115 gold, and then immediately cut this whole part out of the script because I wrote way too much. All you need to know is, I was down to a fraction of my starting bankroll and decided to put it on the line. 33 gold, 0 silver, and 79 copper. Who wants to go the distance? Tonus takes me up on the offer. I roll a 1, after which I painstakingly give away all my wealth. I had nothing left. If not for one thing. This is where I started rising to glory. I'm goddamn serious here. Tony had rolled a 4, and I'd somehow missed it and rolled a 3. These people, myself included, were absolutely goddamn serious about the rules. So we redid the roll. I land on a 3, he lands on a 3. I land on a 2, and boom, there it is. And you know me. I had but one thing to say. 66 gold, 1 silver, and 58 copper. Who wants to go the distance? Tonus takes me for a dim-witted casual and rolls 1 in 36. That's what I'm talking about, baby. We won it all back. The legend of the gambler who actually chased his losses successfully. But there's no reason to stop when you're on a roll. So it was time for some big dick bets. Me and Tonus went in for the big bucks with a 100 gold death roll. I roll 719, and by some unholy curse, Tonus rolls a 5. I bring it down to 3. Then I saw the 2 and I knew it was all over. Tonus rinses me for 100 gold, and now we're down to 26. I immediately went all in against Dr. Zeta. On a 420 roll, I start us on a 6. Menacing, but not as terrifying as the 2 that Dr. Zeta puts down. Like a primal animal, I run it back and lock out on the 50-50, after which Zeta fails that coin flip. He even added an extra gold in the trade. Now that's sportsmanship. But when you think about it, I just spent an hour and a half just to bankrupt myself. It's really not a good look. Anyways, I lose 20 to Zeta, and this is where Compound gets overconfident. You see, he wanted to be the one to clean me out. He put his 66 gold against my 33, an offer I simply could not refuse. He rolls a 5, I roll a 4, and he rolls a 1. Alright, we're back at 100 gold. Lose 5 to Codex, and then we take a portal to Darnassus for a change in scenery. I roll for 50 with Zeta, I win 50 gold from Zeta. I lose 25 to Tonus, and decided to quit while I was ahead, and go do Blackrock Mountain with some of the people I was gambling with. Which I'll tell you about in due time. But here's what happened when I inevitably continued death rolling for gold. I win 10 gold against Codex, he bumps it up to 20, and I tell him to make it 25. In 3 rolls, that one was a quickie. We go for 15, and this simply wasn't Codex day. I hit a 2 on his 2, and it's been a pleasure doing business with you. Now we're resting nicely at 170. I lose 20 to Ori, after which I lose 20 to CJ on his first death roll after I just taught him the game. That's how depraved I am. The usual gambling clique had left, and I actually had to rope other people into it to keep gambling. I win 24 gold over Codex with a bit of nutty luck. I win 50 from Codex. Codex wins 50 from me. Jupes comes in and drops 15. I grab 10 from Codex. Because I like a clean number, we roll for 11. Throw in another 10, that puts us at 180. I'm starting to think this is skill and not luck. Win 15 gold. Now it's time to go big. 50, he rolls a 5. I hit 4. He hits 4. I hit 3. He hits 2. I hit 2. He hits 2. And god fucking damn it, I hit 1. After losing 50, I win 25. After winning 25, I lose 25. Codex, the bastard, keeps winning these coin flips and takes another 20 from me. Now I've spent 3 hours and I'm exactly where I started. So I said, fuck it, I'm all in. The numbers got lower and lower until Jupes hit a 5. I win the 80% RNG, and sadly, he couldn't muster the luck to win a 1 out of 3. That's right, bitch! We double up to a clean 250. Take 25 from Codex, lose 15 to El Hopos, and brutally give up 60 gold to Not Meta, who it should be noted is Compound's alt. Another thing to note is that they came back to Death Roll at 4:30 in the morning. Compound and I roll for 100 gold. We drop the 666 in the chat, after which I roll a 5. Compound rolls a 3. Yours truly takes it down to a 2. Now we're in 50-50 territory. He actually puts a 2 down. I don't like that. I don't like the look of that at all. So what I do is I actually also put a 2 down, but then at the same time fart in his face. And you already know what the fuck is up! 300 gold. Kong Arthur loses 25. Z loses 40. Fiona drops 25, and finally Roxanne is my 5th win in a row, resting comfortably at 400 gold. The win streak breaks on a 30 gold roll, and I roll for 50 with Compound. He'd been death rolling for nearly 2 weeks, and I could tell it was starting to break him. When he lost this roll, he simply started fleeing. Naturally, I hunted him down and got my money. When some rogues then killed Jupes, I took it as a sign and ended the night at 420 gold. A few days later, I returned at 2 AM. The death-rolling hustlers were to be found in their usual spot. But it was not a good night for Compound. Over a 2-week period, he was down over 10,000 gold. He had emptied his main and now he was on his alt, peddling away his last epic item, the Staff of Jordan. An absolutely incredible item with a 0.02% drop chance. After weeks of senseless death rolling, he was at the end of the road. Broken and defeated. I couldn't help but pity him in this fiendish state. He was truly at his lowest, attempting to sell his last treasured item just so he could have one last hit of dopamine before he'd go back to solo farming Hand of Justice for 15 gold per Angerforge kill. If you don't play WoW and that's all blibbly blabbly to you, know that he would have to spend many hours of his life to even rebuild a fraction of what he once had. I saw this man on his knees, at his most vulnerable, and I thought to myself, give him nothing, but take from him everything. The staff was selling on the auction house for 350 gold. Compound wanted to use it instead of gold to roll against someone. His friends simply couldn't bring themselves to do it to him. I knew I had all the leverage. I told the broken man, I can settle on 160. All you would have to do is type /roll 1600.
Did you know memory foam was developed in 1966? That's 10 years older than VHS. And what's crazier is the technology hasn't even changed. You're getting half-century-old technology with all of its problems. Purple perfected the science of sound sleep. All you need to do is experience it. And you can for 100 nights with Purple's no-pressure guarantee. So go ahead, try the world's best mattress.
I've been obsessed with belts for a long time. I wear a belt every day, and there was like 3 things that always drove me crazy.
I tell these gentlemen, it's been a pleasure doing business with them. And if you thought I was done, you haven't been paying attention. I told you, I don't fuck around. Compound starts taking gold out of his guild bank and racking up debt with his friends because he wants to win his staff back. I roll him for 50, and whatever was left of his soul got sucked out when he oofed at 1 out of 27. Fikika wants to avenge his friends, whose night I clearly ruined. And on a 1 to 18, I take 100 gold from this loser, resting pleasurably at 515. I roll Compound for another 50. Luck finally seems to be coming his way when he hits a fat 2. Sadly for Compound, I'm a true legend of Azeroth, and I rent him for another 50.
Alone be praised.
I went BRD and started death rolling there, because why play the dungeon when you can play real World of Warcraft? I managed to bring myself barely to 600 gold before my WoW GF actually fucking destroys me for 50. After which I go back to Ironforge. I roll Boorman for 50 gold, I drop a 2, he drops a 2, I drop a 2, and it's easy as that, folks. He decides to raise the stakes to 100, he drops a 2. Oh no. I absolutely rinse him, like the primal fucking animal I am, for the second time in a row. Now we're at 700 gold. I lost a few smaller bets, setting me back to 676, and then a day later, whilst Compound was down gambling to this mean dwarf named Shorty, I sell Shorty the Staff of Jordan for 260 gold, right under Compound's nose. And that's how you afford your epic mount at level 55, bitch! 900 gold earned in less than 10 hours. Go home, Chinese gold farmers. I'm the goddamn king! I run this shit! Whoever said gold farming was boring in WoW, you're delusional. This is the only fun part of this boring-ass game. I admit I felt a little bad when less than a minute later Compound asked if I still had his staff. But I made it up to him by rolling him for another 50. God, I love this game. To cut a very long story short, I would go on to death roll every single day instead of leveling for the next week. You may not know this about me, but I'm very, very impulsive. And I'll have you know that even within the constraints of the YouTube advertiser guidelines, you might get away with saying that I have allegedly many years of experience with respectively online slot machines and Texas Hold'em. And based on said imaginative experience, I would hypothetically know that the only winning move here is to stop playing. I somehow ended up at 1600 gold. That's after buying bank space, all the 16 slot bags I wanted, getting my Crusader enchant, sending like 200 gold to my WoW GF just because I'm a pimp like that, leveling up all my skills, and paying Compound to farm Hand of Justice for me for hours. After which I won all the money back I just paid him. For a man like him, it never ends. He's simply in too deep. But there's still hope for me. You see, I have dreams, things I wish to do with my life. I'm not gonna be a nobody role-playing dice for fake money in Ironforge for the rest of my days, whilst my central nervous system grows ever less capable of regularly producing dopamine. I have to rise above it, get to level 60, buy my epic mount, clear Molten Core, get percentage hit gear, and respect to Fury Warrior so I can viably dual wield. Then I have to slay countless Horde players and finally make a PvP montage in 240p with copyrighted music. Then, and only then, can I truly become a legend of Azeroth. So I don't got time for this shit. I got places to be and things to do. I'm quick on my feet, vicious, some would even call me nimble. And whilst we're on the subject of velocity, here's something quite interesting. Every race in WoW has exactly the same base move speed. Here's the myriad of things I did to change that. You remember when we did Alderman? That's when I started a quest chain that led me on a scavenger hunt across the world. I killed Grelborg the Miser in the Alterac Mountains. Then I went to Dustswallow Marsh to kill Dagon the Ravenous. And finally I journeyed to Stranglethorn Vale to kill Moog the Undying. At the level I was at, I'd describe the process of soloing these elite mobs as trial and error. After bringing the Star of Zelia, the Hand of Dagon, and the Legacy Heart to Garrick Bone Grip in Ironforge, I do the final part of the quest, Forbidden Knowledge, which led me to Theldarin in the Badlands. Completing the entire quest chain grants me the Skull of Impending Doom, which is an offhand that sucks your life force in exchange for movement speed. In the Badlands, I also completed another quest incorrectly named This Is Going to Be Hard. It was a very easy quest, which got me the nifty stopwatch, a trinket that increases my run speed by 40% for 10 seconds. Then I crafted the gnomish rocket boots, got them enchanted with 8% extra movement speed, and as the cherry on top, I got my WoW GF to brew me some swiftness potions. Right after spending that good handful hours of my life was the very moment I found out that these movement speed bonuses, they don't stack. So I couldn't even do the move I'd worked so hard for. And even if I could, it dawns on me that I'm intensely untalented. Here's a great example. I jump down with a skull of impending doom because I want to look like a swagdon gliding fast with my parachute cape. I completely forget to re-equip my weapon. I don't question the fact that I'm only doing 3 damage, and to round out this masterpiece of a wipe, I also pop retaliation whilst none of the mobs are attacking me. Nearing 300 hours of game time, and I'm still more often than not the sole reason why we fail miserably. With the Eastern Kingdoms engaging in a plethora of territorial land wars, I decided to switch continents and hope that the Horde were less prevalent in Kalimdor. I went to Tenaris and killed an unreasonable amount of thistle shrub dew collectors to get the latent dew gland. Wowhead tells me it has a 13.65% drop chance, and there's literally no way that's true. We killed like 200. After it finally dropped, I decided to undertake the closest thing to self-harm World of Warcraft has to offer. A cross-continent escort mission. I walked Tuga all the way across Tenaris, only for him to be reunited with his wife, who's absolutely stuck up, tells him to go get food, and generally just starts bitching at her long-lost soulmate. Then, I turned in the latent dew gland, only to be informed that to complete this very special quest, I had to acquire a plant on the other side of the world. So I take my Hearthstone to Ironforge, travel to the hinterlands, and collect a mushroom from the bottom of a lake. Then I use my ultra-safe transporter to teleport to Tenaris, because absolutely fuck Menethil Harbor. Due to a minor malfunction, I'm turned into a troglodyte. Once the troglodycia wears off, I make Sprinkle turn this mushroom into violet powder, and she tells me,
Pleasure doing business with ya.
I take the violet mushroom powder to Marin Noggenfogger, and right as I turn in the quest for the Noggenfogger elixir, I hit level 53. At which point, I decided to start questing in Ungoro Crater. You can actually jump straight in there from Tenaris if you have the parachute cape, which, as it turns out, doesn't work when you're mounted. Now, when performed correctly, the parachute cape will let you gracefully glide through the air, avoiding the certain death of a high-altitude fall. Although if you do stress test your physique against the harsh perils of gravity, know that you can't recover your corpse, so enjoy 10 minutes of res sickness, fool. Another way to do it is to activate the cab a tad later, take a chunk of fall damage, and die to the pterodax. And finally, here's the actual way to perform the trick. I calculated that with absolute maths and perfect precision. The joke's on me though, I'll still have to wait for Emiria to corpse walk. I love World of Warcraft Classic, man. Ungoro is thematically one of my favorite zones. It's this jungle in a crater. It definitely feels secluded from the rest of the world, and the vibrant colors mixed with exotic ambience absolutely immerses you for several minutes at a time, until you're corpse camped by disgusting horde players. I managed to finally escape them, only to have the worst questing experience of my life. I killed these tar lurkers that make you walk really slow. I picked up various glowing Konokai crystals, and then I rode all the way to 3 different pylons. There's always the usual, extremely rewarding drop rate quest that can take anywhere between 4 minutes and 2 hours. I traveled to the middle of the Ungoro crater only to realize that was no place for a level 51 Alliance player in Phase 2. The only redeemable part of my time in Ungoro was when I leveled my guns by practicing on various innocent exotic animals. A brilliant idea suggested to me by my carnal, ruthless, fantastic World of Warcraft girlfriend. The training actually came in handy 10 minutes later in this cave when I was frozen by a mage, the most insecure class in WoW. He was about to escape with a sliver of health when I pulled out the gat.
I'm here to prove that Purple Mattress blows memory foam out of the bedroom.
Only purple passes the durability test, body heat test, and the all-new HED test, or human egg drop test for the layman. The best test to determine a mattress's comfort and support. Ready, Billy?
No, I just have to...
Perfect. Just look at how the Purple Smart Comfort Grid, made from a super comfy yet ultra supportive material called hyperelastic polymer, cradled those unfertilized chickies. And yeah, they're pretty real. Now how about that memory foam?
Alright guys, I'm in my super sick car and I'm at my super sick mansion, and then, oh wait, I'm in an alley in Pittsburgh getting out of my Volkswagen Golf. Kale, what do you gotta say to the people right now?
I gotta tell you a little bit about Amazon FBA, and most of the time the gurus are there with their girls and the boobs are out and they got the Ferraris. But what I got...
And finally, this is the quest that broke me. I spent 10 minutes climbing the steep walls of the crater, determined to reach this bastard quest that seemed so out of the way, only to find out that obviously it was in a cave and not up here. In retrospect, I suppose dropping out of high school might not have been an option or a choice, but rather just my path. Anyways, when I reached the quest marker with Blackvard, it turns out that it's a mech gorilla escort mission. But you need a mithril casing to activate it. A third guy showed up named Flokia. He actually rinsed me, making me pay 3 fucking gold for a mithril casing, after which he immediately activated the quest without me. At this very moment, I logged off World of Warcraft. A few days later, I was in Stranglethorn Vale with Emiri. I went to make a cup of tea and set my character to follow Emiri. When I came back, I was in a house in Goldshire, ready to do whatever it is people do in Goldshire. I keep the guild tabard on. You already know I'm that guy. After the authentic Blizzard experience craps out, I leveled my engineering to 265 and crafted a robot chicken that can be summoned to slay my enemies. Maybe. The Gnomish Mind Control Cap, which as the name suggests, actually lets you mind control a humanoid target. Your results may vary, it never works. And the Gnomish Cloaking Device, which lets me stealth to escape certain death. Sometimes. I also acquired the Goblin Jumper Cables, which lets me shock motherfuckers back to life. Sometimes. I then went to Stormwind, where I met an annoying player named White Girl Uwu. She simply wouldn't stop bothering me, so I farted her in the face. She was pissed and wanted to duel me for my transgressions. We went outside Stormwind, I brought her down to size and defeated her using only my robot battle chicken, after which she took back everything she said. Having had my fair share of questing, world PvP, and cringy roleplaying, I knew it was time for a real-ass dungeon. One of the realest dungeons in the game. Blackrock Depths is one of the best dungeons in World of Warcraft, and as much as I would have loved to shit on the Circle Jerk, and this dungeon is the best thing of all time in the whole world. You get in and you see there's a locked door, you need a key, and it's genius game design. It makes you think, what's behind the door? It's replayable. As much as I would love to shit on that Circle Jerk, they're actually right. It's a really fucking good dungeon. It's fucking massive. There's so many different routes and runs you can do. Every section and boss is memorable. The loot is fucking incredible. It's not just standing and hitting, it's actually fucking difficult. And even I have to admit that its replayability is absolutely extensive. I'd go so far as to say that it's replaced Dead Mines as my favorite dungeon. Since I've already ran it a dozen times, instead of showing you one single run, I'm gonna show you clips from respectively the one perfect run I did with my guild and all the other terrible runs I did with various other people. Then you'll see the stark contrast between how it can be done and how it should be done. And get this show on the road already. The video's already half an hour long. Jesus fucking Christ! You could start by going the wrong way and dying on the other side of the lava where you can't possibly recover your corpse, but still walk all the way just to find that out. Then die again, eat the rest sickness and corpse walk about 20 deaths to finally jump down in the right spot. Or, hear me out, you could go the right way instead of wasting your time, optimally use charge and intercept to get as much distance as possible out of each corpse walk. Utilize movement speed and stealth trinkets to effectively enter the dungeon in under 10 minutes. You could die to the first pack of mobs you pull because you didn't wait for the patrol. then at the last second activate the gnomish cloaking device and get fucked anyways, because it's terrible, it never works. You go through the walk of shame and then you pull all the mobs and die again. And you do that again. Or you could take on a couple enemies at a time and chill out without worrying, since you're at the easiest part of the dungeon. Make it to the boss and tank him against the wall, no sweat. In fact, why even do this part when you could run something efficient? Go straight to Arena followed up by Angerforge. Great loot distribution for everyone in your party and a shot at Hand of Justice. Speaking of Angerforge, yeah, you can fuck that up too. I don't even know how we died in this room. I'm pretty sure you're not supposed to die in this room. Pop retaliation, wait. How did I even die there? No one knows, but I did die. Or perform the lava skip. Why even fight all the trash mobs that drop garbage loot? Swim through the lava. Look at my health. Look at my health. Watch what I do here. Watch this line. Watch this line I make. Perfection. Fucking frame perfect. I told you. I run this shit. Jump down and aggro all the grim patrons. Our slightly underleveled party wipes and we walk a reasonable distance to get to play the game again. Then walk in the next room and get decimated, making us walk a moderate. Open the relic vault, get that fat loot, bitch, that's what it's all about. And right as we open this massive gate, we appropriately discuss the strategy for how exactly we're gonna clear one of the most serious DPS checks in the game. Or anyways, at the end we kill Emperor Thorsan. BRD is a fucking phenomenal dungeon, and I'm definitely not done running it. You know what I did say I was done with though? Death rolling for gold. Which is why it should come as a shock to you that I returned to Ironforge with high-minded ambitions. I was just gonna go for maybe 1 or 2 small death rolls, just for fun, you know, before going to bed, just to chill out a little bit. However, I suppose you could say I made some poor bets and mismanaged my funds. Swak doesn't flinch. I'm determined to win it back. I roll most dope for 50, drop a 1 in 5. I mean, shit happens. That's when he hit me with double or nothing. I tell him only if we roll for 100 this time. I almost immediately lose it in exactly the same way by dropping a 1 in 5.
No! Oh my god!
That's 150 gold down the drain. Considering that I was already down 400 gold, this wasn't an amount I could afford to lose. So I tell the man, double or nothing. I drop a cursed 4 on a 395, and let's be honest, this really wasn't my day. I somehow won it all back, and I took that as a sign to go for a 500 gold death roll.
Don't know about that. How this man's brain works.
Oh no, it's possible. Oh no.
No! Fuck! Fuck!
Memory foam has a big problem. It sleeps hot, and when exposed to body heat, it softens and loses support, causing you to sink faster than my hopes and dreams at senior prom. Deep sleep requires low stimuli. Purple is temperature neutral. Its grid design and aerated sidewalls create serious airflow so your body heat doesn't affect your sleep. Stop looking for sleep in all the wrong places. Purple perfected the science of sound sleep. All you need to do is experience it. And you can for 100 nights with Purple's no pressure guarantee.
It was at this point in time that I underwent a lapse in judgment and went all in with my 900 gold. All or nothing. One final bet to end it all.
This is a really bad start.
27.
Okay. Oh no!
Oh my god.
I don't care what these people think of me. Fuck this shit. See you guys later. And then I logged back in to say one thing. Wait.
Wait. Wait, dude.
All the 4. It's been 3 weeks since I ran with Most Dope's money. If his constant threats weren't to be believed, my reputation had now been tarnished beyond repair. Just like IRL, mate, Ironforge is the school hallway all over again. And you're the kid with acne and bracers that gets kicked around after this if you step into Ironforge. The irony in that statement is that when I happen to be in Ironforge, I'm met with more praise than ever before. Finding a party for dungeons is instant, and never in my life have I had this many people want a death roll with me. Oh, and whilst checking the Ironforge mailbox in peace, I saw 3 letters from the man himself. A sob story about how he was a long-time viewer and I should do the right thing. I sent his 3 letters back along with a banana and wrote, "It's been a pleasure doing business with you." Most Dope opened a complaint on the Noggenfogger EU Discord server. I defended myself from these harsh allegations by saying, "I did it! I'm guilty!" Most Dope even took to Twitter to beg for his money, saying he was still waiting on his gold. I replied with a visual representation of how long he was gonna be waiting for said gold. When I logged into WoW, he claimed that I was now done for, banned from Noggenfogger and kicked from my guild. But truth be told, the only reason I got banned from the server's Discord is because my friends kept posting various pictures of Thanos, and I happened to be guilty by association. And by the way, my guild didn't kick me. My guild publicly condemned my actions. I can't wait to raid with them. It's gonna be a most dope experience. In fact, my time in WoW's never been better. Just a few weeks ago, this world was tarnished beyond repair. Absolutely unplayable. How come now I can go wherever I want? Quest in peace? Even get into Blackrock Mountain? The reason why Azeroth is absolutely serene is the release of Phase 3. By adding 2 giant instanced PvP war zones to the game, designed around PvP, for the PvP World PvP. World PvP is far from the most effective way to gain points. And that's all PvP people are here for. They want those fucking points. Boom! That guy got fucked up. You with me so far? Great. That leaves us with Warsong Gulch and Alterac Valley. One map, which is damn near perfect level design, an intensely enjoyable experience that really supports the structural foundation of what makes PvP enjoyable. A phenomenal addition to World of Warcraft. Some people do play this. And Alterac Valley, that people only play to farm honor points. Both teams ride straight past each other to the enemy objective, and each game ends in 10 minutes. Incredibly boring, and there really is no reason to play it. By the way, this is the one that has hundreds of lobbies at any given time. But that's not what we're here for today. Last time was all about PvP, dungeons, gambling, and cringy role-playing. So today, we're doing the boring episode. It's all about long, unbearable, monotonous, repetitive, soul-draining, terribly designed quest lines. And here's why. When you get to the max level, endgame content comes largely in form of raids, which is a 40-man dungeon. To get into these raids, you have to get the proper attunement. Like for example, for Molten Core, you've got to go to this rock and click it. Pretty simple. So anyways, in preparation for reaching 60, I decided to also do the attunement for the Onyxia raid, which in stark contrast has just a couple more steps. This quest is the worst thing that's ever happened to me. I start by having a stern talking with Helenda's Riverhorn. She tasks me to kill 15 black broodlings, 10 black dragon spawns, 1 black drake, and 4 black wormkins. Even with Phase 3 taking the majority of ADHD players away from the open world, Burning Steps is just a zone where you're prone to encounter a deficit of attention. After dying a few times, I managed to run away with a sliver of health. A couple Alliance broskies took me in. They saw my perils, after which they ganged up with me to cleanse this place from Horde scum. Holy shit, almost. In under an hour, I managed to complete the quest, and now I'm tasked to travel to Lakeshire. When our griffins parted ways, I knew I'd clicked the wrong destination. After a bit of a detour, I make it to Lakeshire, where Magistrate Solomon sends me to Stormwind, where Lady Katrana Prestor calls the Magistrate paranoid and refers to his men as an encampment of riffraff that are most probably suffering from heat stroke. Oh shit, I just remembered riffraff exists. Now I don't follow the plot line, but that is a pretty good burn. That's a diss right there. Anyways, I then go back to Lakeshire, only to be told to go straight back to the burning steps and report to Marshal Maxwell, who sends me to speak with Ragged John.
Talk to me.
I listen to Ragged John's tale in record time, after which I journey to Blackrock Depths. On the way there, I upset my WoW GF with mean words, and she committed harakiri to show her dissatisfaction. This was the turning point, where I would go from having a bad time to having an unbearable time. I entered BRD and cleared my way to the prison cell of Marshal Windsor. This seemed to be the final part of the quest, so I looked up the quest chain on trustworthy Google.com, which led me to the WoW Wiki. The WoW Wiki told me that I had to kill mobs inside BRD until one of them randomly drops a crumbled up note. Together with Larry and Amiri, I started clearing out the mobs in hopes that the crumbled up note would drop. You ever in a sticky situation? Boom, actually just jump around the gate. You don't need the key. And the greatest thing about this trick is that you fucking die anyway. And it was at this very moment that Larry convinced us that we needed to 3-man Angerforge. Considering that I had to kill that boss for the part after the note, I obliged, in hopes that the note would drop before we got to the boss. It didn't, and then we wiped to Angerforge. Not once, not twice, not 3 times, not 4 times. We didn't wipe against Angerforge 5 times. We wiped 6 fucking times before I finally caved in and told my friends to go fuck themselves. There's absolutely no way I'm not inviting a 4th. Hold up, listen, pay attention. Here's the key to my suffering and your enjoyment. I actually hadn't finished the quest for that note to drop. So I rezzed the spirit healer, fly to the burning steps, talk to Marshal Maxwell, and return to finally kill General Angerforge. Not before drowning in the lava and walking a moderate distance though. And of course Hand of Justice didn't drop. It's a fucking 4% drop chance, Larry. So we basically did all that just for the bonding experience.
Ah, man, this is what I love about classic WoW, man. It's just a meaningful journey.
Anyways, as the sun literally rises, I go kill slaves until the note drops. The note! Once it does, I'm finally able to continue this disgusting quest line at 7:30 in the morning. Then it finally felt like I was catching a bit of wind in my sails when I executed a perfect jump. However, when I then traveled by foot all the way to Marshal Maxwell, only to see no quest marker, as Marshal Windsor, the guy inside the dungeon, is the guy I should give the note to, I wasn't exactly excited. So I go all the way back inside the dungeon, hand the man the note, and get the quest, A Shred of Hope, tasking me to kill Angerforge and Lord Golem. So I get a squad together, we skank our way through Blackrock Depths, kill the 2 bosses for the quest. I hand in the quest items to Marshal Windsor, which activates, hands down, the longest escort mission in Azeroth. When I say it literally took half an hour, I mean it literally took half an hour of just walking this dude from one pack of mobs to the next. Once we were finally done with an experience that I consider a pure detriment to my existence, now we're about halfway through the Onyxia attunement. So we yet again go conversate with Marshal Maxwell, who sends us to the gates of Stormwind to talk to Reginald Windsor. And this guy, of course, activated the quest right before I got there. So then I had to just walk around Stormwind and just wait. Just wait. I was starting to get a little bit irritated at this point. So anyways, I wait till he's done with the quest, and then I start working with this absolute unit of a man. Not just does he reveal that Lady Katrana was actually Onyxia in disguise the whole time, he also comes with an escort mission. Yes! Except he's actually an unbeatable god and you're the one being escorted. That's a bit of a saving grace. After very slowly RP walking throughout the entire city of Stormwind, we reach the throne room, where Onyxia's true form is revealed. Big reveal. Oh, whoa. She summons 10 Dragonkin Death Guards and vanishes into thin air. The tricky part of this quest is standing back and not even helping a little bit. If you help, you'll get killed in one hit. If you stand back, Reginald Windsor will take care of business. After a long, hard-fought battle, I spoke to High Lord Bolvar, who gave me a fragment of the dragon's eye, and asks me to seek out a dragon named Haley, who's disguised as a human in Winterspring. So, on the other side of the world. Hey. I travel to Winterspring and use the power of the internet to find out that I don't want to go through the manifestation of tedium, and that I can actually skip the death caves if I make this extremely hard jump, which will actually let you get to Haley without doing the death caves. Unless you are unfathomably stupid, so unbearably lame-brained that you would step on the portal to the death caves. That's one of the classic blunders. It actually teleports you into the caves of death, where you'll die. Forced to reset the spirit healer, I'm greeted by the friendly horde players of Winterspring. They said to me, "Nice res sickness, fool," with body language. However, Phase 2 had me more than accustomed to the stale corpse walking, which is pretty much half the game sometimes. So I made it back to the annoying jump, avoided the incantation circle, and spoke to Haley, who sadly informs me that I'm not done yet. I'd have to kill the final boss of Upper Blackrock Spire. So I go to the town of Winterspring to buy the schematics for the thorium tube, go back to Ironforge and use gambling proceeds to level my engineering to 300. I then procured 24 mithril bars, 4 hearts of fire, 6 true silver bars, 2 star rubies, 2 gold bars, and 2 gallons of goblin rocket fuel. I hired a blacksmith to use 10 of the mithril bars, 2 true silver bars, and 2 gold bars to craft me 2 inlaid mithril cylinders. With all these items together, I crafted the mithril mechanical dragonling. I then spent a steep sum of money to acquire the schematics for the Arcanite dragonling. I would go on to procure 6 rugged leather, 6 lesser eternal essences, and 30 dream dust, which an enchanter used to bless me with 6 enchanted leather and 10 enchanted thorium bars. After which I crafted 6 thorium widgets and purchased 4 gold power cores. In total, I'd easily estimate that these materials set me back over 200 gold, and that's without factoring in the cost of leveling my engineering. Now I'm only missing the final ingredient. 8 delicate Arcanite converters. It looks like a really cheap thing to buy because it looks like a little widget. To my surprise, Arcanite bars cost 55 gold a pop, which means there's no way I could afford my epic mount if I were to craft this cool little dragon I wanted. So I decided to yet again stop fucking around at Ironforge and continue the goddamn quest. I assemble a group of Azeroth's finest warriors, then walk my character from Thorium Point into Blackrock Spire. No, seriously, the whole way. Oh my god. Once we enter the dungeon, I actually felt menacing vibrations surrounding me, and I knew I was in for a bad time. Our first fight was on this pole. At first I wasn't exactly sure why we died. You see, I focus on the important stuff. Set my character to follow someone else and go roll a cup of tea. Once we try again, I find out the hard way that these mobs have knockback. And also, don't step on the eggs. We clear out the gauntlet. Blizzard thought it'd be fun to make players wait an unreasonable 2 minutes in between each pack of easily beatable trash mobs before we finally get to kill Rend Blackhand, who drops nothing useful, and we really just waited 15 minutes for the bonding experience. Next up, we kill the Beast, who drops the Blademaster leggings, some nice leather pants that are incredible for rogue players. I need them for my collection of items that I'm never actually gonna wear unless I roll one very specific spec where they might be useful, which I won't. Then, we wiped against the trash mobs, I set my character to follow and go take a shit. After dropping King Kong's finger, we wipe to the same group of trash mobs and repeat the process. Except I didn't take a shit this time, because I'd already on the bridge in front of the final room with the final boss. We yet again all get decimated by a pack of trash mobs. I'm starting to see a pattern here, and I'm ever so slightly concerned about our ability to actually kill the boss. Yet I remain hopeful and vigilant. Put yourself in my shoes. There's one pack of mobs between you and General Dracasath. The last foe remaining for you to be done with the Onyxia questline. You put on your mind control helmet because you want to be certain that the mobs don't wipe your party once more. When you intersect with the brainwaves of thy enemy, you realize his mind is simply too strong, and in a terrible turn of fate, you get mind controlled by him. Now you join Onyxia's army and decide to live out the rest of your days as a dragon. Unfortunately, mere seconds later, the astrally projected hallucinogenic brainwaves wear off and your soft, tender, petite, warm, gentle night elf soul is immediately detected by the ruthless monster surrounding you, leaving you torn to shreds immediately. Once we finally stand before General Dracasath, we properly execute the fight by having one player leash the boss whilst everyone else takes care of the smaller mobs. Then General Dracasath violated our party without even losing half his health. I was actually the lone survivor. I managed to somehow survive in this little crevice, and I would go on to escape the crevice and use my goblin jumper cables to resurrect our priest, who would go on to resurrect our whole party, and then they wouldn't have to walk all the way. And actually, of course that's not true. So again we try, and again we wipe, making this a 2+ hour long UBRS run. Wow, man, and leaves, and our weak-willed party gives up. So I did what any reasonable, strong-willed individual would given my circumstances. I stopped roping and started coping. I played Warsong Gulch for 2 hours, and then I took just under 2 hours to complete Motherlode Goldium, a nostalgic game from my childhood. At 1 AM, I finally felt clean from my last dungeon experience and went for round 2. This is how I can tell I'm gonna have a good time in World of Warcraft. If there's one single guy from my guild in my party, I know I'm in good company, surrounded by iron-willed Azeroth commandos, fucking guerrilla soldiers of the Alliance. We cleared our way to Pyrogard Emberseer with streamlined proficiency, and he drops the True Strike Shoulders, the pre-raid best in slot shoulders with a 10% drop rate. Absolutely juicy shit. However, I've used up all my lucky rolls on death rolling, and my 5 simply won't cut it. Although the redemption to this run came shortly thereafter, when we killed Rend and he dropped Blackhand's Doomsaw. You don't need to roll higher than 2 if you're the only cunt in the party who's so underleveled that it's actually an upgrade. Anyways, the rest of the dungeon was a fucking breeze, and I truly think this is how you're supposed to experience the game. When you're in a guild that's not trash, and you play with the people that aren't trash, this 15-year-old game actually becomes semi-playable. We take out General Dracasath, and I return to Winterspring, do the Satan jump, and finally finish the Onyxia questline by forging the Drakefire Amulet, which will in the future give us access to the Onyxia raid. Not today though. I told you, this is the boring episode. So 2 levels away from 60, I decided to undertake yet another unbearable, repetitive, monotonous, terrible quest. Specifically, the line that leads to the Mark of Fordring, the pre-raid best in slot amulet. Before starting the quest, I naturally had to level my polearm skills. I'll admit, even I was taken aback when Emiri asked me to strike her. Although in such a predicament, I set aside my delicate sensibilities. You see, I'm not one to let down a woman. Sadly, duels don't increase your weapon skills, and I'd have to farm something else to master my new weapon. My scheming WoW GF capitalized on the opportunity at hand and made me boost her ult by spamming the worst dungeon in the game. I'm getting rinsed here. After mastering my new weapon, I began the 3 pre-quests. I journey to the Eastern Plague Lands, and Tyrion Fordring tasks me to kill 30 plague bats, 30 various hounds, and procure 15 slabs of carrion worm meat. An hour later, I got the privilege to even begin the actual questline. Redemption. Listen to Tyrion Fordring's tale. I'm ready to hear your tale, Tyrion. Thank you, Tyrion. That is terrible. I will, Tyrion. Done. Simple enough. So far, so good. Then this moral hero of the Alliance asks me to go dig up a grave. A grave which is located a moderate distance from our current location. I do it, no questions asked. And on a side note, how did I dig crypt robbers out of the grave? That makes no sense. This game sucks.
Game sucks.
The thing about World of Warcraft is that
it's bad.
What you really need to understand is that
this game sucks so much.
Anyways, I return Talon's hammer and begin part 3 of Lost Honor. Now we're here. Before we had to go down there, and now we gotta go all the way up here.
Great.
I love it.
Once more, we make our way through the toxic wasteland, kill a plague monstrosity, and at the bottom of a lake, I recover the symbol of lost honor. Travel all the way back to Tyrion and begin part 4 of Love and Family. And this quest actually has an interesting dynamic that truly immerses you into this engaging gameplay experience. You have to travel very far from one place to another. Whoa. This really is World of Warcraft at its best. The second part of this quest had us tasked with conquering the Stratholme dungeon. No, not the fun undead side where you can get the loot your character needs so badly, but rather the shitty live side that people only play to farm orbs which sell for a hefty price on the auction house. So I went to Ironforge and gathered a squad. Just kidding, I was death rolling. I don't have footage of when I gathered the squad. We entered Strat Live. Now the first handful of wipes was complimentary. It's honestly just par for the course at this point. Now what you really gotta pay attention to is right here, in the last hallway before killing the final boss needed for this quest. Mind you, at 6:30 AM with half my armor in the red, I accidentally pull a patrol of mobs that go on to devastate my comrades. Naturally, the better player survives the fight, only for my goblin jumper cables to malfunction. My comrades walk a gruesome distance and then immediately wipe so fucking hard on the next pull. Having been pushed to the limit of his emotional detriment, Chimera leaves us one man short, one pull away from the final boss. And with a heavy heart, I return to Ironforge. Luckily though, I got roped back into this dreadful questline when Ori came through and stepped up to the challenge. I steal a painting and burn the holy scriptures. Fight Grand Crusader Dathrohan, who uses Bankai mid-fight and transforms into the demon Balnazar. After killing Balnagar, I attempt to die on purpose, but this stupid gnome mage is on his bullshit. After appropriately disposing of the gnome, I spirit res and return to Tyrion. He gives me a gift and I travel to Uther's tomb in the southern Plaguelands, where we meet Miranda the Hag. She's a cosplayer who helps us dress up as Scarlet Crusaders for the final part of this quest chain, the Scarlet Subterfuge. With our immaculate disguises, we breeze past hordes of enemies that have not the faintest idea that they're undergoing trickery of the highest caliber. We zoom straight past these idiots and make our way to High Lord Talon Fordring. As we stay in cosplay and convince the man to murder his own army, it dawns on me that this isn't Comic-Con, this is an escort mission. Now, you could choose to unveil your disguise and fight alongside Talon, but why actually play the game when you have a man on your side so powerful that he can jump through the floor? No, me and Ori had much better things to do with our time than racking up a repair bill, like walking in circles, doing the dance, RP walking, and questioning where Talon got a horse of that size. By the way, he got extremely close to dying once. You're probably supposed to help him. After RP walking for 20 minutes, Talon Fordring finally arrives at his destination, where he fights some trash mobs and somehow dies in one hit for no reason. Then you literally have to wait about 5 minutes for Tyrion to arrive. As we pass 8 AM, I finally complete the quest line to receive the Mark of Fordring, an absolutely fantastic amulet. I'll have you know that in 2 weeks of my life, I completed 2 quests in World of Warcraft, and I unironically think I live a pretty fulfilling life. Now you're sitting there in your chair, slumped over, with brain fog, a smelly t-shirt, and a big Adam's apple, practically a zombie at this point. And I ask you, where's your fucking sense of urgency? Fix your goddamn posture. Sit up straight like an adult. Just fucking grow up already. Look at the level. Look at it. Look at my XP. Can't you see that I'm about to ascend? Wasn't it obvious I lied all along and played you all like a goddamn fiddle? Strung you up like a fucking violin. This isn't the boring episode. This is the episode where I fucking rise! 334 hours of my life. Pain, blood, sweat and tears. Discovering this beautiful world, including its ugly side. Dungeons at 4 AM. Gnomes. ADHD rogue players. Innumerable horde encounters, repetitive, soul-draining 15-year-old game mechanics, 2 fully fledged World of Warcraft e-relationships, getting our mount, the crippling gambling addiction, farming dungeons over and over again for necessary items with rewarding drop rates, getting the Whirlwind Axe, albeit morally abrupt, clicking my abilities, joining a guild, paying Compound his own money to farm Hand of Justice, leveling engineering to 300, scamming that sucker for all he had. God, I have so many fucking treasured memories in this game. I told you to sit up straight, but that's not gonna cut it, soldier. I'm gonna need you to take a stand. I'm not kidding, this is to the viewer. Stand up right now. December 15th, 2019.
The Banshee Queen. And my people have not always been the Forsaken. Long ago, this land comprised the northern kingdoms of Lordaeron, ruled by King Tyrannus Menethil. Tyrannus had a son named Arthas. Arthas. Even saying his name makes my body quiver in rage. This man-child, Arthas, took for himself a cursed blade known as Frostmourne. Through Frostmourne, Arthas killed his own father and raised this land along with every living creature in it. My own death came at the hands of Arthas when he and his armies sacked my homeland, Quel'Thalas, and murdered my people. In his vast cruelty, Arthas severed my spirit from my body and raised me as a banshee to serve in his Scourge army. A similar fate befell all that would die to the Scourge war machine. In death, they were reborn as mindless undead. But Arthas was not invincible. With each passing day, his power waned, his grip over the will of the damned loosening. It was when Arthas was at his weakest that I struck. And though the hour of his atonement had come, the worm managed to escape his fate, returning to the frozen wastes of Northrend. With Arthas gone, so too was the control he held over the undead masses of Lordaeron. After recovering my body, I freed the remaining Scourge that were left behind. From the cruelty and mercilessness of Arthas, the man who would be Lich King, the Forsaken, were born. Our goal, our sole purpose, was to destroy the Lich King. We threw our lot in with the Horde and began our journey towards redemption. Now, the Lich King is dead, and we have returned. The people who called this land their home in life do so in death as well. But the Alliance does not recognize our rights. They claim this land as their own, while attempting to invalidate the claims of the founders of this kingdom. I will never allow it. Never! Lordaeron belongs to the Forsaken. Always and forever. What are we if not slaves to this torment?
Makra, be safe.
Lokta, go forth to victory.
closer. Closer. Target. Out of range. I need to get have a target. I have exactly what you need. What would you ask of death?
Honest, this.
I need to get close.
Greetings. Strength and honor.
On this day, a legend of Azeroth is born. 334 hours ago, I was but a strand of DNA in the nutsack that is Teldrassil. With no real 9-to-5 occupation and absolutely very little responsibility, I've taken you all along my journey to become a full-fledged fucking primate, an Azeroth commando soldier, a fucking hero of the Alliance. What did I say? I'm quick on my feet, vicious. Some would even go so far as to call me nimble. It wasn't easy. I wanted to quit many times, but I persevered and overcame harsh adversity. For the first 150 hours, I read every quest. It took me about 250 hours to find out that I can interrupt spellcast with Pummel. I leveled from 0 to 60 on a horde-dominated PvP server as a warrior. I was level 48 when Phase 2 dropped. Every level 60 player could get honored by ganking me, and I played throughout the entire thing. All of this, every pull, every mob, every single corpse walk, each step, every single death roll, each line of dialogue during cringy role-playing, every single popped retaliation, every goddamn fucking ninja loot, every dungeon played out till 5 AM, and every party abandoned in cold blood has led me to this very moment in time. One mob away from 60. My squad of ruthless warriors kneel before me and let me finish the job with the gnomish death ray. I told you! I don't fuck around! I'm the goddamn king! I run this shit! A bit anticlimactic that I overestimated the damage. So that's when we pulled out the gap. And yeah, reaching level 60 was actually super anticlimactic. The only immediate difference was that I was now no longer granted dopamine points for playing the game. The run went kinda shitty. We wiped several times and the bow didn't drop. But you have to realize, the ecstasy of reaching level 60 actually comes about half an hour later at a certain vendor in Darnassus. I trade my 800 gold for the Swift Frost Saber. And then one morning, I caught a certain individual logging into Ironforge and appropriately informed him that riding my new mount was a most dope experience.
3, 2, 1.
I'll invite you.
Our enemies will fall.
Just do your thing, bro. Remember to take the quest. Whenever you say go, I'll start killing.
Everything's on.
So, pop potions?
Yes, go.
Okay, let's kill stuff. Are you getting these?
Yes.
Yeah. You're on 5 now?
Yeah, 59%.
And then 6. Okay, mount up. Don't complete it yet. Are you good to turn in the quests?
Yeah.
Okay, 1 sec though. Oh wait, okay, let's turn in. Okay. Let's do the training quest over here. You ready?
Yeah, you fucking killed
Yeah,
it.
I'm ready. I'm ready.
Okay, I'm gonna invite you now. Just summon us whenever you can.
Yeah, I'm summoning.
I actually didn't need to set up UI or anything.
Okay, that's good.
We
That's
played
good.
on this
They
earlier
got the
today.
summon truffle?
Yeah.
Me too, come on.
It's coming now. Come on.
Okay, excellent. Then I'll uninvite you
Pegasus,
now.
yeah.
And then I'll invite Bisa.
Yeah.
Share the quest.
Yeah.
There we go. Let's start killing. You get trouble?
Yeah.
Yeah. Need a few more. Need those two, then we're good to go. You kill it. Kill this as well. Okay, let's go. Complete it, and then you'll be ready to summon us soon again?
Yeah. I will say when I'm there.
Okay.
Because you cannot invite before I'm there because I need to have all on the same mount.
Yeah, I'll just remove.
Oh, fuck.
What's wrong?
I didn't have the pants on.
Okay.
Shit. But we're still good.
Yeah, okay.
It's only 10%.
Turn this in. Okay. So now we're level 10. Oh, we're actually level 11. Good.
How much
Not
XP,
there
how
yet.
many percent do you have?
98. 89,
84.
I mean. 89.
Yeah, that's pretty good.
Okay, 1 sec. I just need to set this up.
Not there yet.
Set it up. Let's go kill some mobs while we wait. I'll invite you now, okay?
No,
okay?
no, because they're on the same mount. So
Okay.
just I'm almost there.
It's alright.
I was there when you can invite.
Jimmy, det er ikke mig, der laver den officielle ting. Jeg har en lille timer her, stopwatch, men...
Yeah, invite.
Oh, did you... Wait, 1 sec. Jimmy, Truffles han streamer nemlig også, og han har det officielle kørende, som vi kan aflevere.
Yeah.
Okay, just kill these, and just